Clobberin' time! It's clobberin' time! Clobberonimo!
Welcome, my friends. Greetings, clobberers, clobberonimos, and clobberoids. Say it. You know you want to say it. Clobberonimo! It took me like 5 or 6 weeks to get used to waiting for the second part of that. Now they go together like Franks and Bings, death and taxes, politics and corruption.
It's my favorite soundbite. I love that soundbite.
Mine too.
It's clobbering time.
Yeah. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome indeed to Clobbering Times, issue number 563 on YouTube. 1,263 over the past 14 years. And of course, Clobby's Clubhouse number 79 with my wonderful friends, Raquel, Briggs, and Mark D, the engineering chief and the wonderful commander, the greatest first officer in the fleet. And I'm just so happy. Our good friends are here with us tonight. And yep, it's good to see you both and good to see all you dear friends coming into the chat. And hey, well, let's start out with our first officer. Welcome, and what's going on with you?
Evening, boss. It's 2 days until the book launch. I'm getting a little nervous now. It's getting a little harder to sleep. I'm super excited. And I'm also thrilled to be here. We have more UFO. We have more Tales of Tomorrow. And I get to talk about them with like one of my favorite guys in the whole universe, my captain, one of my best friends, Clobby, and my friend Mark. My friend Mark, who is so thoughtful. He made new goodies for the show. He's a sweetheart. He's fun to hang out with. And he watches Tales of Tomorrow with me. I mean, he's got to be a good friend, right?
Oh, and I'm in so much trouble tonight. I didn't get a chance. I was so busy today.
That's okay.
No, but thank you for all the other kind words.
So hail to the chat. Good evening, everyone. So good to see you. I just want to give a very quick shout out to all of my Patreon subs because I have a new book coming out and they're making sure that I'm able to do that. They're my backers. These people actually care about science fiction and they care about me and I cannot express in words how grateful I am for them. So Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter, Cardinal Sin, Shooter, Chris Persia, Scuba and Leslie P, Eric K and Kirby Curbs, Enigmatic Dropbear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with a C, Jilly Jill, Maximum Redstone, JT Kirk, the Deadman Clan, and LT, Lord Thoth and Lady Thoth, and Sir Lancelot. Anyway, I love you guys. Let's get it on.
Yes, indeed. Well done, Marco.
Oh, great to be here. And sorry I didn't do my homework. I can't believe I've been so good doing my homework. Getting the watch party, watching the Rangers lose 4-0 to Dadman's team. I don't know if I can talk to Dadman again. Just kidding.
No, Dadman. Sorry, Dadman.
Yeah, sorry, me. Good for Dadman. His Devils are won 3 in a row against my Rangers. Oh, very ugly loss tonight. Ugly loss. As Raquel was saying, I did do a new logo for the clubhouse. So
look at how cute that is.
I love that.
So it says CLOBBY'S Clubhouse. That's from the original comic. It actually said CLOBBY'S Clubhouse there. It never said Legion.
That's true.
Yeah.
Never did say Superheroes Club or Legions.
Right.
That looks so cute. I just absolutely love it.
I can't get enough of it.
Sorry, we're double clicking.
No, I just want to see it.
You just like it, right?
I love the one with the clubhouse on it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I figured you'd like that one the best.
You know who that is, right? That's Fortress Lad.
I know that freaks me out all the time. Poor Fortress Lad. Oh,
poor Fortress Lad. I might review that comic. That's
that's just so. Do you want to explain to the chat what that means?
It's such an obscure thing. I guess I could do it later. Fortress Lad. That is not just a building there. That's a being. But it would take a second. It freaks you out, that story, does it?
Oh, I didn't know that was a being. I thought that was just a building.
Well, he was, they have tryouts every year for new Legionnaires. So to be a member of the Legion, you have to have you have to have one superpower, and it can't be a duplicate of anyone else's powers on the team. And this kid had this ability to transform into different objects, and to like it was a silly power because it was a silly time for comics. And of course, even though this was actually a retcon story from the 80s, it was pretending to be set back in the 60s. But anyway, he had the ability to change into different structures. But they had the Legion was under attack by this psychic villain who could make you lose all temporary memory, like short-term memory. And it was about to, it used its ability on the Legion, so they'd all forgotten. And just before his memory was wiped out, this kid who had been turned down as a member because his power was too eclectic and weird, changed his body into that structure to protect the Legion long enough for their memories to come back. But he was blasted, so he was killed in that shape. And he was killed in that form. And also, if he was in some kind of a coma or not, he had no memory left. By the time the Legionnaires' memories came back and they got out of there, they'd forgotten all about him. So he gave his life to save the Legion. And they'll never know that was an actual person.
Wow.
Is that what freaks you out, Mark?
Yeah, because then they're meeting it's their clubhouse, and it's actually.
And now it's the clubhouse.
One of the Legionnaires.
Yes, they're like, how'd this get here? Someone built this for us. That was retconned into the.
You could say that he constantly gives birth to new friendships. Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry.
You could.
Sorry.
No. You could.
You could. Yeah.
Anyway, let's do some show notes and then some shout outs. And then we'll talk. So, Captain Infinity, fear not. I will get to if Mark, could you star his questions?
Yeah, I did star
questions for us. Thank you. Max Redstone, by the way, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says here to say hi. I'm lurking. Must shop, cook, and work. Well, we're going to shout you out in a minute. First, show notes, folks. Well, let's see here. Tomorrow night, I'll be hanging out with our good buddy Nick Weiser and the gang on his great channel for the Friday Night Comic Shop Talk, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be part 3, actually, not part 2, of our Warlock review of the Jim Starlin classic masterpiece of the early 70s, the Bronze Age. Adam Warlock, his great run, and with the usual suspects. And the great Hungry Boy's been joining us the past couple of weeks, and we're having a lot of fun reviewing this great book, and I hope we'll see you there again tomorrow night, HB. And then, special announcement for Saturday Night Star Trek, our chief engineer, our first officer, chief engineer, our first officer will be on an away mission, and she will be on shore leave, but
book launch. Of
course, we're going to get you to talk about that, of course.
You're working. You're really working.
Yeah, she'll talk about it.
Off.
Right. She'll tell you about it later. But anyway, Saturday night Star Trek will go on. We will do something. I don't know what we'll do, but we'll talk some Trek because why not? We could
it will be glorious.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but you never know. It'll be fun because it'll be Trek talk, and you could, or I don't know if you're going to be home or not, Chief Engineer, but if so, you're more than welcome to join me.
I think I will be around. There's a chance.
If so, yep. Okay. Like I said, no pressure, but if you can, fine. I could believe me, I can wing it when it comes to talking Trek, but of course, we'd love to have you. Let's see.
Awesome.
Big shout out to the great D-Bud Martin. What a fantastic time I had hanging out with you last night, buddy. Reviewing Iron Man #6, talking George Tuska and all things Iron Man and his book and Iron Man art. And we're going to review another Iron Man comic together soon enough, my buddy. D-Bud is just a great guy. And it was just all too long. We've been planning it for way too long to get together to talk. So I'm glad we were able to do that. And look who's there, Princess Fiona. We're going to get to the shout outs in a minute, though. Oh, well, I'll answer that. We'll answer that in just a second. So we start that one, if you would. Let's see here. Okay. In addition to, of course, the Sunday Night Geekery on Mark D's channels, which is every Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, which I'll be there hanging out with him. A new thing on Monday nights is if I don't do enough streaming, I got a new show because, well, it's worth it. My good buddy J-Man on his channel, we've started just a couple of weeks ago reviewing every single appearance of the Legion of Superheroes in chronological order from 1958, ending in 1989, which means we're going to be doing this for a while. You think Saturday Night Star Trek's lasted forever, but it's worth it because someone needs to do it. And our third excursion into it. Oh, I put number 2 on there. No, it'll be the third one. I got the number wrong. Anyway, well, that's the old one. That's why I'm an idiot. There we go. Our third excursion is Superboy number 86 and then Adventure Comics 282. We're going to do them all in order. J-Man and Sean and I get together, and what a great time that is. That's 7 p.m. Eastern time on Monday nights. And then, of course, on Monday night, Mark C. Comics Talk. Mr. Jason Sandberg will be joining me again to talk about his crowdfunded comic, Jupiter. And I'm looking forward to that. Now let's see here. That's all for show notes. Let's shout out our wrenches, then our good friends who are here with us in the chat. Where are we? Where am I? Okay. Of course, whether the wrench is here or not, they get the shout out because they do so much for us. Well, it's the least we can do. We appreciate them around here at the clubhouse. Eric K., the great bronze wrencher, of course. Chris Persia, Vindicator Wrench of the North. The aforementioned great D-Bud Martin, the Wrench of Iron. Lord Thoth, God of the Wrench. And, of course, his wonderful better half, Lady Thoth, always gets the shout-out. Avon lives, and long live the Legion, my friend. My partner in crime on Earth B. Because we haven't forgotten Earth B, folks. J-Man and I have not forgotten Earth B. And, of course, fellow Legionnaire reviewer and Wrench Without Fear, J-Man. Master of the Claboni, comic book artist extraordinaire and painter of the cover of the wonderful book, Science Fiction Tales by R.M. Briggs. Hungry Boy. Super Wrench Supreme Cal L. Thor from Vegas, Weaver of Wrench Mjolnir, Maddie's Daddy, and that rascally rabbit, Fancy Outside A. And he's here tonight. He's a great contributor to the show on Saturday Night Star Trek. The great Max Redstone, the music meister himself. And I hope you're feeling better, buddy. It's always good to see you. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Now, shouting out our other friends who are here with us in the chat tonight. Let's see here. Oh, hang on. So I got to drive this thing back. Quagnar's here.
Quagnar.
He loves that. You know it. JT Kirk.
JT Kirk.
Donnie Pierce. I think Donnie.
Evening.
Good to see you, Donnie. Hang on. I have vamping bop music when I'm, scrolling down to find more people.
They should have a button for that where you can just click on it,
They do have music.
Why does he need music? He has me.
True.
That's true. Yeah.
Just
Trained
kidding.
musician.
I thought Captain Infinity and Beyond.
Captain Infinity and Beyond. I'm excited to answer your question when we get.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. Hang on. John Rupas.
Reggie?
Dave C.
Dave!
Dave C. Claude Selling.
Evening, Claude.
The wonderful Princess Fiona. Always great to see you. It was great to see you here last night. I really appreciated having you here. Means a lot to us all. Steve Ernest, it's been a dog's age, boy. Good to see you.
Hey, Stephen Ernest.
Yeah, good to see you there, Stephen. It's been a while. Bastards Maniac Mexico MMM.
Triple M.
Dude, always good to see you. I hope you're doing well and fighting it and winning it. Michael Beacom. Good to see you, buddy. And shout out to the wonderful Cassandra. Shout out to Cassandra. Let's see here. And I think so far that is everybody. One hopes. I do miss him from time to time. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Where are we at? Okay, Captain Infinity asked a question.
He did.
He says, "Oh, okay, I do understand that Star Trek is fiction. Is it really? I guess it is. But Star Trek takes place in our universe, right? Apart from Mirror Obvious.
Who wants to answer first?
You can. Do you have words on that? I'd have to think about it for a second. I mean, I think it's just fictional, but I know what you're talking about now. Go ahead.
Okay, so Star Trek isn't technically fiction the way that one would conceptualize fiction. You know, it is science fiction, but it really reaches to be futurism. And so there are things along the timeline that have been incorrect, but that doesn't mean that it's in violation of it being science fiction, and it's in violation of this timeline, or it's wrong or whatever. In discussing the editing of my last book, the Science Fiction Tales Volume 1, well, now it's Volume 1, my professor, who is a preeminent intellectual and professor of comparative literature where I live, described my work as heterocosmica. And heterocosmica is a literary theory that is based on possible worlds. And so when I think about Star Trek, now that my previous professor, he and I are just buddies now, exposed me to heterocosmica, I now see that there is an actual literary theory, a complete literary theory for explaining what I'm doing with my work, and explaining the fact that Star Trek is futurism, and it's in our timeline, but it's defying those milestones, those markers. So I definitely encourage you to look up the literary term heterocosmica. And I thank Dr. D for that. Love you, Dr. D. And it will open your mind to a literary theory that fully addresses this futurism without any type of weird parallel universes or time travel or any of that garbage. And I think you'll be blown away by it. And I think that you will very much enjoy having this word be a part of your vocabulary and understanding the mechanism of heterocosmica. So yeah, that's my answer. I hope you enjoy that. I know you like to research things, so grab onto that word and run with it and have a ball with it, because it's terrific.
Just spell that for me.
Yes.
There's a lot of letters in there.
You had to say that. Didn't you?
Yes, absolutely. I can definitely spell it for you. HETERO and then Cosmica. So like COSMICA.
All right, let's see if I put it in correctly. No, hopefully that won't get banned from the chat. That's been a salacious word.
Yeah.
Son
So
Lottie got
you never know.
banned at
Hey.
the cake company for being
Oh, my
pornographic
God.
cake for graduation.
Hey, Brian Hepburn. What's up, buddy? That's great.
So yeah, so I'm just learning about it myself. He laid that word on me and he was like, wow, this is terrific, heterocosmica. And I was like, wow, okay, here he is teaching me again. And I mean, this is somebody who is, I consider, one of the most brilliant people in Canada. And of course, he comparative literature, PhD in comparative literature. The guy is a walking brain, and I completely adore him. So it's obvious that I can't completely unpack heterocosmica. I don't know enough about it myself. I haven't had time to fully look into it, but I'm excited to do so because of the preliminary findings that I had when investigating this label he put on my work. So yeah, and it is the in between. It doesn't have to be time travel. It doesn't have to be a parallel universe. It can be a possible world.
There you go. Let's see here. Princess Fiona asks, can we review Star Trek: The Motion Picture Special Edition? We did review the film when we were doing on our Saturday Night Star Trek reviews, and when we reviewed it, we'd already seen the director's cut, not that special edition, of course, necessarily the newer one, but we did talk about. I believe we talked about a little bit. But have we actually reviewed that set that came out last year?
Yeah, so remember we did it all together. I just put that.
We all did one together, didn't we?
Yeah, we reviewed that, and then also if you want to look on the Iconicon website or chat, and it's in my I'd done a video referencing that too. They did a whole show. They had actually some of the guys that worked on the new special effects and the producer. It was a phenomenal show. It was on what channel was that? That was
Retro Blasting. Well, it wasn't on Retro Blasting. Was it Retro Blasting channel or was it?
Well, I'll dig it up. Yeah, it was on someone. Movie Oubliette,
yep. Guys, can I interrupt very quickly? I beg your pardon. I have to say hello to DVB, and I also have to say hello to Glinzer. Everyone, DVD. Welcome DVB and Glinzer to the chat.
Yeah.
Yep, I was about to do that. Yes, indeed.
Sorry about
cool. No. I'm just letting you know that we're on top of it. So whoever gets to it, gets to it. Then because I always want to make sure as soon as someone pops in, I always try to let's stop ourselves and say hello to them, because if it starts going faster. It was for those who don't know, Iconicon for the past 2 years has been an online virtual quote unquote con put on by my wonderful friends at the great YouTube channel Retro Blasting, Michael and Melinda, and I've been fortunate enough to do panels for them, my own virtual panels on my own channel. Hello, Stephen Ransom, welcome. But they had and many channels do panels for them, and I think via the channel Movie Oubliette, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they had as Mark mentioned, the guys who worked on Star Trek: The Motion Picture Special Edition Blu-ray, and it was just a great show. Mark had a question answered by them, I believe.
Yeah, and the guys actually the guys we're going to show them. One guy was brought to tears because we were so nice in the chat, I guess, are interested. Just he's like, right. Oh, this is so amazing. You guys really touched them because we kept saying how much we loved it. And it's always been, Wrath of Khan is my #1 movie, and I got to see the world premiere and meet Leonard Nimoy that night. So that's tough to compete with. But as time goes on, it's really the most Star Trek-y of the Star Trek movies.
Motion picture, beautiful.
Yeah. And when I did that 4K, it's just so gorgeous because the added director's cut, that the movie was so rushed. We're not getting into it too deep, but maybe we could talk a little bit about it on Saturday night again if we want. But
we might do something like that. Yeah, but
touch it a little bit. But
in the meantime, Fiona, go watch. If you put the links to that up
we'll try to find them, or someone can find it. Find those links.
Yeah, we'll try to get the links in there for those.
Yeah,
if you want
before the
see
show's
those.
over. Yeah, well,
maybe Saturday night we'll talk about it a little bit. Yeah,
and CLOBBERIN channel. Yep.
Yep. So yeah, that would be. We should talk about that maybe Saturday. Talk about that a little bit. Well, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it'll have to.
Never know, right?
Star Trek, that's for sure. It'll be Trek. Okay. Well, how about we just if no one else has anything else, we get down to beeswax, And we get our wonderful first officer to start out with her regular going segment that we have, folks. Tales of Tomorrow.
Right? Right. Everyone knows why. Everyone's got to know by now why we're covering Tales of Tomorrow. Tales of Tomorrow features short stories, some of them very famous short stories, some of them even novels, turned through the magic of television into teleplays. This is a glorious enterprise, that occurred in
Enterprise.
Sorry, that occurred in and around 1951. So obviously, everyone here knows that I think that science fiction is very important, and that short stories are an integral part of science fiction storytelling. And so, because our world lacks that, everything's serialized now because everything's corporate now. So everything's got to be this protracted story that gets into fifis instead of getting down to the business of writing science fiction, doing the research, and discussing ideas, discussing technology, discussing science, futurism, outer space. So yeah, that's why we're here, and that's why we're reviewing it, because we want to make you feel excited about science fiction again, connect you to science fiction again, and have a bit of fun with these ideas. So the focus is on the ideas, not on the CGI, not on, these stories happen in fewer than 20 minutes. So there's not much time to get it out and get it on. So we're very forgiving, because we're focused on those ideas, which all science fiction should be, in my opinion.
DJ Ronnie G, welcome, buddy.
DJ Ronnie G!
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, so tonight, so Tales of Tomorrow is in the public domain now, okay? And it was recorded off of televisions, and some of the episodes were reclaimed through film. So there's a mixture, and some episodes have been lost. So I was tracking all of this using a pencil and a piece of paper, and then Mark comes along and he sends me this Google Doc, and he's got it all mapped out for me. So I love this person. He's such a great friend, and he's doing that for me, and he's doing that for all of you. And it's because he's such a cool cat. So we have...
He loves spreadsheets.
Yes, and he does have spreadsheets.
Captain Spreadsheet.
He does have a spreadsheet addiction. So we are popping all the way up to what would be considered season 1, episode 13. This would be known as Sneak Attack. It was first broadcast on December 7th, 1951. And if you wanted to bring up any visuals that Sneak Attack...
Yeah, I'll try to find some images of that one, yep.
Thank you so much. Okay, so the writers for this were Mel Goldberg and Russell V. Richley. And I think perhaps Mel has written this and then Russell has adapted it, or perhaps they worked together on it. Usually with Tales of Tomorrow, they tell you immediately. So I'm not going to read the synopsis of IMDb because it is a cesspool of nincompoopery. So just horrible. So I took some notes to give you the gist of the episode. I promise I won't spoil it for you. So this episode didn't win my favor. It's not science fiction. We happen upon, and this is the first that this has ever happened. This is not science fiction. So we happen upon a patient behind enemy lines with an unclear purpose. He's injured and may be an American soldier or an American officer, or he may be a Russian agent. We are not sure. Foreign planes suddenly begin landing in every major American city. 25 of them. There are 25 of them in total. And then almost immediately, one of them explodes, destroying a city. So the planes are what they call in the dialogue a sneak attack. And then there is a magic right shoe. So the patient who's behind enemy lines orders his doctor, who is, fallen in love with him and is doing the smoochy suck face with him, to go and get his magic shoe. So he goes and he gets the magic shoe, and then we cut to another scene where the president is talking about how they have 55 minutes to choose slavery or doom. Doom! And then the secret agent opens up his shoe, and as it turns out, it is a device in which he can communicate with the American government, with the president himself. And so he taps out something in Morse code. And then a whole bunch of really dumb dialogue ensues. Okay, well, I'm not going to reveal what happens after that. But I just want to say, this is not science fiction. This is the worst acting I've ever encountered in Tales of Tomorrow. It is a preposterous scenario where, like in, post-war, that the Russians can just fly 25 planes into the USA without any recourse. So yeah, flying into U.S. airspace is going to get you knocked down, baby. And few countries are better at knocking those planes down than our friends in the good old USA. So it's preposterous. It's goofy. The ending is super goofy. I'm not going to blow the goofy ending, but on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to give this a 1.5.
Wowzers. Wow.
Yes, usually Tales of Tomorrow yields between a 6 and an 8 or a 9, or sometimes even a possible 10. This is complete and utter shite. And now I want to ask anyone in the chat, have you watched Sneak Attack from Tales of Tomorrow? And then I want to put it to the boys, but I think the boys did not do their homework this week. Boys.
Sorry. One day I'm going to catch up. In fact, by next week I might catch up.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So, okay, so the guys have no opinion on this episode. So, Suffer and Succotash. It's bad. So let's move on to the next one. The next episode that I watched is Tales of Tomorrow, Frankenstein. It is season 1, episode 16. So we watched 3 episodes in between here. And this was first broadcast on January 18th, 1952. We have the writer listed specifically as Mary Shelley, as in Mary Shelley from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the Modern Prometheus, with a teleplay by Henry Myers. And Henry Myers should be shin-kicked into the next universe. This is an oversimplified and insulting adaptation with terrible dialogue and terrible acting. And then I wrote, ugh, and underlined it millions of times and then put an exclamation point. It is soliloquy dumbness with extra camp. Soliloquy after soliloquy, and it's just ridiculous. And dumb and campy soliloquies. And Victor's cravat cannot save this. This is goofy. This is annoying. The creature is bumbling, whereas Mary Shelley's Damon was brilliant, reading Goethe, reading, Paradise Lost. Like, if you're reading Goethe and you're reading Paradise Lost and you're realizing you've been rejected by your maker, this is what turns you, and you're completely alone in the universe. This is what turns you evil. The daemon isn't initially evil in the novel. Remember, it's a work of science fiction. It's not a creature feature. So this annoys me to no end. Shin kicks, Henry Myers, I am shin kicking you. This doesn't even slightly resemble the book. And the reason why I'm holding it to the book is because they do list Mary Shelley here. They weren't inspired by a film. They weren't inspired by a comic. They list Mary Shelley here. So this is Henry Myers' attempt to adapt Mary Shelley for celluloid. And boy, epic fail. Yes, and then I wrote down in yelling all caps, this is not why the daemon kills. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I'm not going to explain that. I was just angry. So and then there is this really super uber goofy part where Victor Frankenstein lights a piece of paper as though it were a torch to sort of drive the daemon back. And he's got this lighter or candle, I can't remember what it is, and he's trying to light this piece of paper and he can't really get it to go. And then what's worse is that the paper doesn't really ignite. So it's a pathetic fire, and you just burst out laughing.
Fire bad.
If you're drinking, you're definitely going to spit and start laughing because it's like it's a comedy. So this is absolutely horrible. It's this poor actor. Let me just go and look up this guy's
Lon
name.
Chaney Jr. is Frankenstein.
Is that Lon Chaney Jr.?
Yeah,
No.
I know a little bit about this
It is.
episode, which I can elaborate on
Oh my
after.
God.
Okay, so
I thought
Lon
that might be
Chaney
him.
Jr.
Oh, that's sad.
He's the star of this show. He has the most lines in this entire. I think this one's 22 minutes, and this is all you hear.
He's most famous, by the way, for
minutes of that.
He's most famous, by the way, for playing the Wolfman in the Universal Wolfman films. By the way,
he's one of the most famous and also Phantom of the Opera. He's one of the most famous makeup.
His father was Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, this is Junior, right?
Yeah, this is Junior.
Yep. But
Wow.
incredible family
in
for
the original German. JT Kirk, you just freaked me out to the point where I almost use your real name. That is such a delicious comment. I'm sending you a hug. Your wife and your offspring must just be so proud of you. You are such a cool cat. I love Goethe.
Yes, Princess Fiona. I love the Bernie Wrightson Frankenstein illustrated work. I have a copy of one of his. It's just beautiful. One day, if I ever get a chance, I'm going to make sure Raquel gets one too, because the art is beautiful, and of course, she loves Frankenstein so much. It's a novel. It's an illustrated. It's a novel with brilliant art.
I do. Obviously, I love Frankenstein. I studied it in university with a professor of comparative literature. It was some of the best time that I've ever spent in my life. It is the first modern work of what would technically be science fiction, and it's glorious. So here, I really wanted to love this. I was all in. I pushed all my chips in, expecting this to be really good, and I didn't even care if it sucked because I wanted it to be good. But it's 22 minutes of
you see what Michael Beacom said? He said we spent time with his son for Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, of course, because he was in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. If Bruce talks to him, I'll ask him to mention this because I did not know about this. I guess he didn't know that Lon Chaney Jr. had actually played the Frankenstein monster.
Not well. I feel sorry for him because Henry Myers didn't give him much to work with.
No.
I gave this a 0 out of 10.
0? You can't get a 0.
0.
Wow.
0. What if I want extra credit? What am I going to do? How can I raise my grade?
Resubmit.
I want to pass the course.
Resubmit.
He did not know about this one. Yeah, I never heard about this either. You think it would have been something report on that the guy famous for playing the Wolfman and one of the greatest, Lon Chaney Jr. was just the Wolfman, man. I love that movie. I love,
what? Michael Beacom did not know about this performance. Michael Beacom is a super geek. Michael Beacom, It is my pleasure to bring this to you as a nerd. A nerd has actually shown a super geek about a geek reference. This is insane.
Don't rub it. Wow.
Blown. Mind blown.
Way to rub it in and make him feel even worse.
Sorry, man.
Well, I was so shocked that he was in this that I actually skimmed through this episode, so I haven't formally watched it. But the rumor was that he was stone cold drunk in the second half of this play, because there's visually performed like plays. These were like live TV shows, like Fired at Work.
No. So, please don't apologize for that. I actually appreciate that you're saying that, because that's one of the reasons why I love this show. And I love that is your organic response to it, because it really does feel like a live stage play. And that's why it doesn't need technology. It doesn't need effects.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't even need practical effects because it has that stage-like quality, and it's a glorious experience. So never apologize for that. You're on the nose with it, and I just love it,
Thank
Mark.
you. Yeah, so it said here in this article, actors blew their lines, sets collapsed, and props malfunctioned right before your eyes. Even the commercials were live. As a kid, this person is saying, I remember seeing someone faint on camera. Picture a woman who delivered a few lines in a trembling voice before she passed out of frame. So I'll give credit to the article, to its Tales of Tomorrow, Frankenstein's notorious TV adventure, and this is Frankensteinia, the Frankenstein blog. So I'll put this
Yep.
Terrible.
I don't think I don't think they wanted anyone to know about it.
No, don't
probably not.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'd never really even heard. I don't know if I've ever even heard of the show till Raquel started talking about it a few months ago. I may have, but I don't recall.
Yeah.
So the show was not. It's not like we're talking about Twilight Zone here, or even, thriller with Boris Karloff's thriller or science fiction theater. I mean, very few people have heard about the show, but it was the dawn of television.
Yep.
Yeah. So what had happened too was they think that Chaney was so drunk that he forgot that he thought this was not a live performance, just a rehearsal. So that one of the scenes where he goes to break the chair, he doesn't break it because it's his prop, but he's holding the chair. It says break,
bad.
break. So because they think it's a prop. So one of the directors was interviewed in one of the articles I read saying he basically went to the changing room. I guess they had a break or something and got plastered. And then when he came back, it was a disaster.
I totally believe that because he spends so much moaning and groaning time. It's like he had too much X-Lax. And it's like you're overhearing him having this encounter with Metamucil or X-Lax. That's exactly what it sounds like throughout the entire endeavor. And so he's bumbling around. And you're like, oh, please kill me now. Kill me now. So, yeah, I was so happy it was over.
Yeah, I did read. I've read counteracting claims. I've read some people that said he thought it was rehearsal. And I've also read some accounts where they said he was stone cold drunk. So, I love Lon Chaney Jr., so I'm hoping it's not true. But also, if someone drinks, people drink and can't, sometimes, stuff happens. So, I don't even hold that against them either. But
so everyone says Michael Beacom said, wait, that was on this? No, he was not drunk. They only had one breakaway chair. He thought it was a rehearsal. And not to take, so he did not break the chair. In defense of the great Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah, and one reason one person said that he did that because he was drunk and he forgot it was the rehearsal. No, I'm just reporting what I've seen. I have no, can't tell you one way or another.
No apologies. You told both sides. It's good. That's good. Don't worry. This is context. It's what people love, and that's what inspires all of these marvelous conversations in the chat. Princess Fiona says, I love the way they did blood in Shakespearean times. VFX are icing, visual FX are icing, meaningless without good cake. Yes, Princess Fiona, I do have to tell you that my favorite Shakespearean work, hands down, of all time, will always be Titus Andronicus. And that opening scene, that horrible, horrible opening scene, is evocative through dialogue, through gesticulation. In no way does it need the gore. And so I'm quite happy to accommodate that play minus the gore. That's not a play that we need to develop with CGI. The gore is not the outward gore is not the idea behind the play. It's the inner gore, right? Here he's carved the tongue out of her mouth and has cut off her hands so that she cannot reveal, she cannot reveal these people who raped her. And it's quite sad. And it really addresses the ugliness inside. So the gore that lies within, the dirty, ugly gore from within. So totally agree.
Ezra Goldstein, welcome, my friend. Shalom.
Shalom.
Michael says, let's see here. You don't say break if you are drunk. That is a verbal cue to indicate what you are going to do. Non-thespians misinterpret it per his son. Gotcha.
Well,
There
thank
you
you for
go.
that, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, because a lot of accounts on the interwebs, which you can't always trust.
Right.
And then here's, they're saying it's this, and then here's the next paragraph in here. Chaney was known as a heavy drinker. He would tell directors to get their scenes early because he knew it'd be plastered by midday, unfortunately. Yep. His drinking, his legendary roughhousing, and a penchant for outrageous practical jokes earned him a reputation as being difficult to work with. His antics fueled a difficult relationship with his 40s co-star Evelyn Ankers and led to a famous run-in with her husband, actor Richard Denning. On the other hand, John Hart, who worked with Chaney in the series The Last of the Mohicans, remembered his co-star as a gregarious, gentle, and generous man.
So as an instructor, and certainly of research, and as a university certified researcher, the first thing I'm going to say to you is, because you just read that on air, about the way that he would imbibe alcohol, can we just scroll up to the top of this website, and can we go to their about and find out who these people are? Where do they get their information? How do they verify it? Where are their sources? Where's the source for these particular assertions, accusations, alleged assertions, alleged?
I've read that about Chaney quite.
I've read some stuff about Chaney about the drinking.
Yeah.
I've read about it, but I don't know if that was,
Maybe not this episode, but but of course,
that's a good point there, Hungry Boy. Hey, little Scotty. Hey there. Good to see you.
So it's never a good idea to make those type of damning accusations and to allege these sorts of things, even if you've heard it through word of mouth through other people. If you're out there and you want to build a blog, or you want to be a person who folks turn to for pop culture information, it is always imperative. Always imperative. It's not optional to be certain to have vetted original source material that is cited. We need some in-text citation here. We need some source material here from really, really good sources, because it's not enough to say, I've heard that around. Who cares? I don't care that you've heard that around.
I've read it in books.
If you're going to do that, folks, always make sure that you back it up. And of course, I'm not blaming Mark or anybody else who's here for reading this off. It's one more way for me to teach you that most of what you read on the internet is unless it has that vetted, peer-reviewed in-text citation. So it's okay to turn your nose up to this kind of thing, or to entertain it as alleged. Please always use alleged.
Yeah, Keely Chow. Roll Tide, buddy. Good to see you.
Look at this beautiful rights.
Yeah, Hungry Boy. Hungry Boy. Yeah, buddy. I know what you mean by the Wally Wood thing, and I tend to agree. So yeah, this Bernie Wrightson Frankenstein is beautiful, man. Because our dear departed buddy Mark C. Loved Bernie Wrightson, as did I. I have the book. I have just a soft cover of this, but he's got the big old monster hardcover edition. It's beautiful. But this is
amazing. Yeah,
this came out in the late '80s, I believe.
Yeah,
if I remember right. This his Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein. Bernie Wrightson, one of the all-time greats, and a nice feller. Got to meet him once. One of my favorites. So anyway.
Yeah,
little Scotty, don't feel bad. I was saying that before you even arrived, because I teach rhetoric and I teach writing, and I teach it at a college level. So it's imperative that folks know that you have to vet your sources. You have to make sure that what you're reporting is factual. And if things don't have a source and they're not backed up, it can be dangerous to read them on air. It's really important to take the author to task if the author is making assertions that do not have peer-reviewed or vetted or original source material in-text citation. It's required. It's required.
We should read these next few paragraphs.
She said your father got you that hardcover. Fit, never even opened it. Cool, beautiful, beautiful book. One day I will somehow make sure Raquel has a copy, because she needs that art. She needs that Frankenstein art in her life. Gray Invader, what's up?
Hey, Gray Invader.
Welcome.
So yeah, just to, because then the article continues here. So watching the show today, we can only conclude that Cheney's antics have been widely overstated. The whole show was done quick and dirty. A number of mistakes can be found. Lines are flubbed here and there, and the actor playing Victor seems more concerned with his hair than with the rampaging monster. I would also submit that shooting the monster in the short rates as well. I won't read that word.
What?
They used to call that like
mistake.
A boner.
Mistake.
Oh,
it was a mistake. Yeah. So you said the word. Yeah.
How unfortunate.
Well, that was pretty. Yeah, it was just a common word. Yeah, live TV was fraught with mistakes, and without the luxury of retakes, actors would constantly improvise and fix on the go, as Chaney does. And he makes it to the end like the trooper he was. His mistakes are here obvious, but they're pretty much run-of-the-mill glitches of the live and unpredictable TV of earlier days. Other episodes of the series had their problems. In one show, a climactic scene called for Leslie Nielsen, airplane fame, to pick up a gun and shoot the villain. And when the prop refused to fire, Nielsen threw it away, walked clear across stage, and strangled his intended victim. An adaptation of The Portrait of Dorian Gray, the title painting was meant to slowly ooze blood. Instead, the fake blood squirted violently into the camera lens.
Oh, no.
Poor Lon. Very public mistakes combined with the reputation as a booze hound and the vicissitudes of a late declining career led to scurrilous, exaggerated claims. Cheney struggles here, but it's certainly nothing like the meltdown stories that have circulated ever since.
Oh, bravo.
Judge for yourself. Tales of Tomorrow's Frankenstein makes for fascinating viewing. You can view or download the entire episode from archive.org.
Still, whomever you
are. That's a good
are,
example of how rumors start and get spread.
This is what I'm saying. This is why it's very bad to say, the internet told me. No, it doesn't work that way. So the person who runs this page, even though you qualified it at the end, you need to use in-text citation. People think in-text citation is a sign of weakness because you're directing people to other sources of information. Nothing could be further from the truth. If I read something that you've said and there is no in-text citation, I put zero value on it. Zero. When I look and I see that you have a list of references and I can track all that information down and all of your references are like scholarly, peer-reviewed, original source stuff, I instantly think that you're the most clever person in the universe because you got down to the business of getting the research done and fortifying what you're saying and making sure that it's correct. So this idea that you need to be original and you need to write your own little thing and have no in-text citation is the exact opposite of the way that real journalism and the way that real reporting and real blogging and real actually exists. Just so you know. Just so you know.
Well, after you show this, I have some Michael Beacom send us a link to some pictures from that event he was talking about.
Oh, great! Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Let's see here. Now, Michael, explain what this event is again, so we can be sure. See here. Oh, there we go. Tell everybody what this is again, Michael, if you would. You guys here?
Yes.
Oh, we can hear you. Yep, we can hear you. I'm just waiting.
I'm gonna get silent. Okay, let's see.
Did you need some elevator music?
No.
Okay.
See, sometimes when I just need to know you're here. I don't know exactly what this is. We make these a bit bigger.
Oh, is that supposed to be like Laurel and Hardy there? Or?
Oh, that's the Omaha film event. Tour of
Abbott Costello meets Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Sorry.
Abbott Costello meets Frankenstein. By the way, one of the greatest movies ever made.
Oh, I love that.
I love that movie. We did a charity showing of Abbott Costello meets Frankenstein with Ron Chaney in attendance. That's Lon Chaney Jr.'s grandson. You said, right? I think he said grandson. Let's see.
Yeah, Ron. I guess his name was Ron.
Yeah.
I'm getting that right.
So here we go. Yeah. Artist Jeff Peterson poses with his Wolfman and Frankenstein Dracula sculptures. Look at that. Abbott Costello. I love this movie.
Yeah, because the makeup was so amazing that the Cheneys did. His father. For Phantom of the Opera. That's one of the most chilling.
There he is, Ron Chaney
portrayals. The silent film. I think I mean, I'm not by far an expert. I think he had used some, it stretched his face back. It's just so scary, that Phantom of the Opera makeup in that movie. It's just incredible.
Ron Chaney, cool. Well, there you go. Oh, some more. One more. Like just some more there.
Well, I was going to go check on the dogs, but obviously, since you can hear them barking, they're fine. They're fine. They haven't killed each other.
They're still living. So, when was this event, Michael? Recently, or anyway, very cool stuff, Michael. Appreciate that. Thank you for that. So, so we got more episodes, or did we just handle them both?
I just did two. And now, without further ado, we can kick up the dust that surrounds UFO and, discuss it. What do you think?
Cool. Last October, I got you. Cool. That must have been fun. Excellent. Yeah, everybody now. Shifting gears to our other review. This one I actually have my homework on. I'm going to catch up one day.
Yay!
I promise.
Yeah, I did a few weeks at least. Yeah.
Yeah. But this I am caught up on.
Well, maybe I'll introduce it then and we can get started.
Go ahead.
UFO. This week we are covering Ordeal. And the reason why we're doing that is because Mark wanted to do it in prod order, and it has been interesting and fun. It was a great decision to do that. It's way better to do it in prod order. This is season 1, episode 22. This is episode 19 for ITV, and it is prod code 9. That is correct, folks. We have done 9 episodes of the wondrous thing called UFO. This first aired on April 14th, 1971. And keeping copyright compliant, I will be reading from the user-generated site wikipedia.org from their story section. This will just be a launching off point so that everyone can be on the same page, literally and figuratively, as we move forward in discussing this episode. So, without further ado, let's get it on! Colonel Foster gets drunk at a party the night before a scheduled fitness check at the Shadowrun Health Farm. Featured in this sequence on the soundtrack is, of course, Mark's going to love this, the Beatles single, Get Back.
Yeah.
He passes out in a sauna at the farm and awakens just as aliens are kidnapping him. The aliens put Foster in a UFO and take off. Foster's friend and colleague, Captain Waterman, in command of Skydiver.
What's wrong with that?
Pete Carlin.
You don't like Skydiver?
No, I love Skydiver, you guys, but Waterman, Captain Waterman's not supposed to be in there. It's supposed to be my Pete Carlin. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Pete Carlin.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, is ordered to destroy the UFO carrying Foster. However, Waterman, flying Sky 1, cannot bring himself to do so. Instead, he uses Sky 1 to disable it, forcing a crash landing on the moon, where Foster is rescued by moon base operatives. Gay does it. Love you, Gay. Inside Moonbase, they find that Foster has been put in a spacesuit and made to breathe the liquid that the aliens must breathe in order to survive their journey from their home planet. But they don't put the gel, that breathing gel that they have that's supposed to help oxygenate and not, so that's not there. Anyway, when his helmet is removed, he struggles to readapt to breathing air. He then awakens properly back inside the sauna, realizing that he was simply imagining the abduction while all along he was safely on Earth.
Wait.
The episode ends with Foster singing a rendition of Beautiful Dreamer.
He had a good voice, too.
What was that last raspberry for again? Because I thought you...
Well,
I just need to know what they're for. That's okay. It doesn't matter whether I agree with it or not. I just want to know,
Okay, well, let's just put it this way. I think that it is very important when you're an author to offer your audience, whether they be a reader or whether they be a viewer, a variety in storytelling styles. But the whole Bobby Ewing thing, I'm not a fan of, it was all but a dream. When there is a total absence of any type of literary quality to it. So in order to make it intelligent and in order to make it something that I go, oh, that was clever. You did that to keep the audience engaged and to, make the audience feel like you care about them and you care about your style of storytelling. But there is none of that here.
No, I'm with you.
So there
100%.
has to be for me like a little element where you can see the foreshadowing just slightly. So the dream would have to be slightly surreal. It would have to lack details, or it would have to create some sort of moment where you're like, hey, what was that? And you feel confused about it. And then the dream later on ties it all together. So
the reason,
yeah.
No,
anyway.
I hear you. The reason why I backtracked to that, Michael and Raquel, is because I somehow it cut out whatever it was. I didn't hear your exact what you were talking about that last bit. So I was going back to clarify.
Yeah.
Because as it happens, I absolutely 100% agree that there's a big gap in the narrative of this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that we went from an extremely intelligent episode that was very cerebral and pushed the boundaries of this world building and filled in all this beautiful context and inspired your imagination and inspired your thought process and inspired you as a viewer. And then this comes along, and of course I've watched it in the Amazon Prime order, which means that I watched this as episode 22. I did not watch it as ITV 19, and I did not watch it as Prod Code 9. So I was well and through UFO, like getting to the end of UFO by the time I encountered this, and it's not good. It's not good. I didn't enjoy that.
I think what disappointed me about it, because I think there's a lot of interesting things in it, is that we did not get. I'm going. This is a prisoner thing. He's in the village. Something of a similar. I'm just speaking similarly, Mike. I'm not literally, or not even that it was a complete ripoff or something like that, but it would be something along those lines. And if it wouldn't have taken very much to introduce into the narrative of this episode toward the end that this was Shadow. Somehow what they call that, the dream room, whatever they called it at the end, where the guy made the dream room. The guy kind of, that it was some way of some sort of test being run on by Shadow, and you could have left it nebulous, but you could have at least. I thought that was closest they got. I think him calling it that, to an implication that this was not just a dream. For me, I needed it to be not. I needed it more than it being just a dream that Paul Foster had.
Yes. And there's far too much detail. And I think I do have to stop you for 2 wags of a puppy's tail, because I have to tell you right now that I absolutely love the story edits that you just submitted. I think that they're top notch. I think that there are, I can't entertain another idea in my skull that would compete with what you just said. I think that is the absolute. That is the cherry way to fix this episode. So bravo. I totally agree.
A subtle insinuation would be all it would need. And they could have left it completely in the ether there, but you're sure of one thing when it's over. You're sure of one thing is you're sure it wasn't a dream, but you don't know what it was, because of course some of the greatest episodes of The Prisoner left you in that state. You knew something had happened. In other words, you never, ever left an episode thinking number 6 was just dreaming. But sometimes you didn't know exactly what it was, because that's what that show was all about. The show's made in the same location, and once in a while gives sort of a feeling of a prisoner. It's not the same thing, of course, but some of the same writers actually have worked on the show from time to time. I needed something a little bit more baked into the narrative of this story, and then it would have been absolutely, because it was really with that kind of payoff at the end. And it wouldn't have taken much. It would have been just what a phenomenal episode, because it would have said, wow, that was very Prisoner-esque. And it dropped the ball somehow. I don't know what was really going on.
Yeah, there's nothing I can add here. I mean, I've got show notes, but there's really nothing I can add. You've hit the nail right on the head.
I didn't mean to step on the
I
show
love
notes.
what the edits that you submitted. I think they're an amazing idea, and it would have made the episode perfection. Chef's kiss. Mwah! It would have made it perfect.
I didn't mean to step on your show notes. Definitely give us the show notes.
No.
We want show
I always
notes.
wait for you to ask me for my show notes, boss.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
No, don't apologize. I think you're amazing, and I just love everything you said. I think it's beautiful.
Well, I apologize for apologizing.
Yes, please. Shin kicks. Okay, so Paul Foster is in Pete Carlin's Sky One. This doesn't sit well with Rock. Don't like it.
You're gonna hey, don't begrudge Pete a little time off, a little R&R.
I love Pete Carlin, and Pete Carlin never misses.
He was on a submarine for 2 or 3 months.
Swanky party. Paul has some time off. Gay and Nina are back in charge, and it is delightful. Of course, I love Gay and Nina. And they truly are, in canon, supposed to be the folks in charge of Moonbase. There's no one above them. They are the astrophysicists of this guild. They are right now. Gay is the right hand of Straker. Very early on, we're told that he trusts no one other than her. He only trusts her when it comes to the math, when it comes to the physics, when it comes to managing people and strategy for how to fight these aliens. So it's great to have her back. Later, I don't want to have any spoilers, but later something really great happens with Nina as well. But it's well known in canon that Gay and Nina are in charge of Moonbase Alpha. They are the Freemasons, the ultimate guild in charge up there. And so is Harrington, because she's a math lead. Anyway, Paul is too hungover to endure an examination. Then we have a 2 weeks fitness retreat that Shadow has ordered. Paul Foster has back and shoulder hair. This is so disgusting. I want to gag. Then we have mass murder and abduction, and we have Paul placed in liquid breathing. We're missing the algae. We need that algae because remember that we're told that algae has a very important function. So they forget to put that in his hair, and it's obvious it's because the actor is wearing a hairpiece. And I don't like to talk about that because I think that it's wrong. I don't like making fun of men who have experienced hair loss. It must be a very traumatic thing. It happens to them like when they're 18 years old, and some of them. And it's not nice. I know some women think that that's a big joke and they think it's a big funny haha. It's not. It's tantamount to a man telling you that you have a giant ass. It's just not nice. And so I don't
make me look fat. Oh, sorry.
Yes, it does make you look fat. Anyway, no, I just don't like making fun of that. It's something that men have to bear, and I think it's really sad. Do you know what I mean? If a woman loses all of her hair, society shuts down. They're there to comfort her, to tell her how horrible it is and how traumatic it is. But men are just supposed to bear it like it's no big deal. So I don't like. You're never going to hear me joking about male pattern baldness. Anyway, I think that's why they don't do the algae here. So I'm not going to harp on it and complain about it because I don't need a man being humiliated on camera just so we can follow all the rules. So I'm willing to overlook that. I love that Freeman and Straker lock horns again in this episode over ethics. It's excellent. I love Freeman. I know that I have read that the females in the audience didn't think that actor was cute enough to be on the show, and that's why they brought along Paul Foster. But I love Freeman. He's Dr. McCoy for me. I think he's all the heart. I think he's all the conscience. I think he's good with people. I think he cares about people. I don't think he gives two wags of a puppy's tail about a title. All he cares about is leadership. He's a true leader. He's loving and caring. He invests in his people and expects the most out of him. And he always wants to do the right thing. So Freeman to me I would follow that guy into a volcano. He's a sweetheart of a man. And I love it when he goes to Strakerkirk. McCoy Freeman goes to Strakerkirk and they lock horns. It's just magic. I absolutely love it.
That's a great analogy. The McCoy-Kirk
right
relationship between the two. That's excellent.
But
nice.
I agree with the boss. I didn't even I didn't cogitate any editorial band-aids for what happens with this Bobby Ewing. Oh, it was all but a dream at the end. I didn't, but I really cannot put enough emphasis on how impressed I am with CLOBBY'S band-aid for it. It's the ultimate solution, and it would actually turn this episode from a complete stinker-rooney McStinker pants into one of the best episodes of UFO. So unfortunately, folks, I'm just going to reveal now, and I know everyone's going to be super shocked because I always say UFO deserves an A every time, if not an A+++++. But this one is a stinker-rooney for me, and I had to give it a C-. And that's all I got for you, boss.
Mark?
Wow. Well, I love this episode, but then as I was doing the watch party tonight, the ending maybe doesn't stick to the ending, and I think a lot of what Raquel, I'm guessing, is because of the ending. I'm wondering what you would give it if it had ended there and he had been rescued and you didn't get the beautiful dreamer segment.
Or if it was some sort of experiment at the farm to check his mental fitness, as Clobby has forwarded, then it's an A plus. But where's Pete?
Shadow should have been this. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they didn't do that.
Yep.
Yeah, because that would have been super brilliant. Because I think it was too cute by half. So it's a hard hitting episode. First of all, you get that great party, and then pilots and astronauts. They're supposed to be at the top of their game, but who's to say they don't party hardy too once in a while? So it's like I've got to be up in 3 hours, and you had that. I guess I don't know how they get back. They paid for a lot of money for that music, probably, or that was interesting to actually hear that in the show. So that whole 70s vibe, as we were doing the watch party tonight, people were commenting and having fun, with that 70s party set in the 80s. But yeah, that that was a great setup. And then he goes to I guess every few years you have to get checked out, your physical, see how fit you are. And I guess there's a really dimensionally challenged guy there. Not that I'm ever going to throw any stones at anyone.
Yeah, but he's a brain, so don't forget to say that.
You think he was a brain?
Right? Well, they indicate through the dialogue 2 or 3 times that he's a super brain. So it's not ever good to make fun of super geeks or super nerds, because a lot of them spend a lot of time behind a desk, and it's very clear that he is like hyper nerd or hyper geek, he's got to shed a few pounds. But I would never fault him for that, because he's not out in the field. He's not pumping iron. No. He's pumping thoughts. And so,
he's working for Shadow.
He's a sweetheart, and I feel so bad for him that he has to get on that machine and work it off. He's adorable. He is adorable.
Yeah, well, that's why I use the term dimensionally challenged. Making fun of him.
What's up, buddy? Don't worry, everyone. I'm starring a lot of your comments. We're going to get to a lot of those once we get through reviewing it. So we're not ignoring you. And
we'll talk about this for a while.
You could all, if you want to put your rating or anything you have for the episode, feel free to do so, and we'll star them and we'll get to them. Mark, anything else?
So I love the whole setup. I love the idea of it. And, you could also argue, I was thinking I was, watching this twice and, back to back, because I watch it to do the slideshow and I watch it for the watch party. So I double watch the episodes. I was thinking, well, how would he know about all these other characters? But in my mind, I get rationalized that sometimes you have dreams where, you're thinking of what other scenes, even though you're not in that dream. So that could have worked too, but it's just such a not as good of an ending there. It was a fun twist where you find out it's all a dream, but you're like, oh, it's the sauna that made this happen. And the other thing too is how would the UFO, the aliens that you would have, as I'm watching it the first time, I'm thinking there's got to be someone in UFO that's a double agent, because how would they know, the secret location where Shadow, which is a secret group, goes to goes to train, it's not as they're calculating where the UFO is going. They're like, well, what's near there? They're like, oh, well, 15 miles away, there's this training center. So, that would also open up another can of worms. So Clobberin Time's idea that it was, part of the training is brilliant. But everything else holds up in the episode. I mean, and the part about breathing liquid, that's something that's been contemplated and science has looked at. And especially as you go,
good science.
Yeah, as you go into depth, you can't go too deep because of the pressure of the ocean. So part of the thinking is that if you could actually breathe liquids, you could withstand higher pressures. So there's a lot of great science in this. So I'm going to give this episode I'm going to give it an A-. I loved it. I think just the ending, falls a little bit short, but everything else holds up. You get that great party. You got some Beatles music. The ladies.
I knew that was going to get you. You're giving it an A- because it's got the Beatles in it.
The Beatles in it, and the ladies look fantastic in the parties, and of course,
come on, like UFO's always got excellent science. It's always got excellent ladies. I mean, it's so much fun. I mean, those things are a given. But this whole dreamy dream thing, I say no. I say shin kicks. I say.
And the other great part too was the sub commander too, where he doesn't want to take Paul out, right? So that was he should have though, right? So that's the other good part, that it turned out to be a dream, because
that giveaway that it was a dream.
Yeah, because the last episode, where Straker has to, unfortunately, we can't. His son has to die because he can't get the medicine there in time. He can't overrule the plane to get to get to his son in time. He's got to go protect the Earth. So that was also an interesting, but the acting was really good, and you're feeling for the actors, the characters there having to, shoot down someone that's your buddy. But I was joking in the chat at the time that they were going to take Paul to watch Star Trek Discovery over and over as torture to find out all the shadow information.
Even the aliens wouldn't be that horrible.
Brian Hepburn says the only thing I don't like is when they have people smoking on the moon base. Brian Hepburn, you're showing your age, and I mean no prejudice in that regard, but you're showing your age, darling. In the 70s when I was growing up,
everybody smoked.
Everybody smoked. I smoked in the hospital. I smoked in an airplane.
Planes, everybody smoked.
We didn't even have a smoking section. That was something that was developed later. So you really imagine you walk into a restaurant and the seating capacity is, let's say, 350 people. All 350 people were smoking. So even if you weren't smoking, you were definitely still smoking. So it was just something that people did. A lot of people, it was recommended by doctors for stress and things like that, and appetite suppressant and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to get into that, but you have to realize that smoking was ubiquitous. There was no way to get around it. You almost stuck out like a sore thumb if you weren't smoking. So it's actually very realistic that everyone's smoking.
That Gene Roddenberry had the brilliance, though, to have no smoking in Star Trek, though.
Yeah, because he actually predicted we were going to quit, and he was right.
This was the far-flung future of 1981, though.
It was only 1980, though. Yeah, it wasn't hundreds of years in the future. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But everyone at home needs to realize this was written between 1967 and 1968, and the majority of it was filmed in 1969, 1970, and I think some of it in 71. But I would need to grab those facts to give you the exact dates.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure. I'm gonna go give it a B. I'm dinging it down to a B only because you could still walk away from the episode saying, believing it was just a dream. It was a dream, but it was that room is in other words, maybe you could look at it this way. You could twist this into a pretzel and go, yes, it was Shadow doing it, but that they never tell you that Shadow has done it to you. So they're leaving it open where you walk out of there and you think it was just your silly dream you had. Hello there, Grim. Good to see you.
Well, that's a great point.
Zach, thank you so much.
I think if you view it as, by the way, Darius Munchausen, thank you so much for the super sticker.
Grim just walked through the door.
I said,
hey, Grim.
Yep, you didn't hear me say hello to Grim.
No, I'm reading. You know me. I'm reading what everyone's saying.
That's okay. No, that's right. But Darius, thank you so much for that. I thought I'd start it, but I can't find it. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Darius, for the super sticker, buddy. Appreciate that. So, anyway, if you go ahead and just give the episode the benefit of the doubt that room is Shadow doing something to you with that room, but you walk out, they never tell you they've done it. They were monitoring it somehow, but you just don't. Then it's needed to be clear on that. But I can let it go because it is so well done and go. I'm going to give it a fairly decently high rating as a B because it's still well done. I'm just going to, in my geek mind, I'm going to think Shadow does do that to you, but they don't ever tell you that they let you think it's a dream. Again, but they should be more clear with their narrative. And that's just me. That's just me loving the show so much. I'm giving a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. And they had a Beatles song in there, so that always helps. Well.
This is so bad. Yes, I'm going to be. I know it's shocking to everyone that I was so hard on this episode, but I really don't like it when they do stuff like that.
I agree. I totally agree.
It's really important that if you want to engage people and you want to be a very intellectual show, which this is, James Bond meets the original series Star Trek. For me, I'm going to expect more from you. This is a student with a GPA. This is a 4.0 GPA student. That's what UFO is for me, a 4.0 GPA student. So if you try and slide in a substandard paper, I'm going to call you on it.
I got you. Now, if anybody has any rating they'd like to give, please do so. If you would like, we'd read that for you. But read some other comments that we saved. First, let's say Brian Hepburn. I knew you weren't young. I mean, no offense, but I know you're not a youngster. He just says I'm old, by the way. But it's an artificial oxygen dependent atmosphere. That's why I knew that's what you were coming from because I knew he's not a youngster.
Okay, so
there was a shortcoming on the moon base. To have. Because and usually they pump up the oxygen in those environments too as well. So
Number one, while I'm reading some starred ones, if you see any ratings, please either
one. Yes, I can go back and have a look
for me. Sure thing. Yeah.
Okay, so we have some things that people were saying while we were reviewing it that I would like to address, or just let them have their say. Princess Fiona says, "I always interpreted this as actually happening, and him being convinced it was a dream at the end." But it's been a while since I have seen it. Yeah, well, the thing is, the reason why it couldn't have actually happened is because those guys were alive that he dreamed that were dead. So
yeah,
that's the thing about that. Jake, but don't worry. I see you have some more stuff, Princess Fiona. Let me get to those. She also said, "What if it really happened and the aliens used their mind control attack to make everyone think it was just a dream?" Well, again, it wouldn't work only because they have people that he dreamed that were dead that were turned out to be alive at the end. So that was my interpretation of when I saw it. Yeah, it's probably been a while, but if you go take a look at it again, you let me know what you said. She said, "I'm tempted to give the writers the benefit of the doubt to say they were going super ambiguous. That's for sure. But I think they should be more clear. Just personally," she says, the dream. She's giving it an A. "The dream ending was more original back in those days, and I still don't think it was a dream. I think UFOs were messing with his head and Shadow's head, making them think it was their experiment. Now, you never know, but they didn't say one way or the other. That's what kind of where we're coming from is whatever you're doing, just be clear about it. And you can get away with it. Whether it works or not is one thing, but leaving something so nebulous like that can really make you scratch your head." Mm-hmm. And that was something that, I love it when it's done well and you don't give the answers. But I guess you got to be almost Patrick McGowan level brilliant to do that. I could still walk away going, "That's amazing," but some things should be answered. And that's just my take on it, though. I appreciate that, Princess Fiona, though.
Masters Maniac Mexico, I have you covered, honey.
Okay. JT Kirk said, "You don't know if it was reality or if it was a dream. You don't know if it existed or if it never existed."
That's JT Kirk.
All I know,
you're so naughty. I love you,
JT. I know you exist. That's all that matters to me.
And for people who might have not been with us for that review, that was a review of a Deep Space Nine episode where the crew traveled. Well, actually, they didn't travel. They they crash land, and they find out they had the previous iteration of themselves had time traveled 200 years in the past, and they meet all their survivors. So we had a great time quoting her, talking about that. Did they exist or not exist, or what happened? What was the name of that episode?
I hate that stuff.
I don't know.
I absolutely hate that stuff. It's infuriating.
It's called "I Don't Exist" episode. I am really forgetting.
It's called Oh my goodness! I've lost my head. It's up my butt. That's what that episode's called.
I've lost it all. It says Little Scotty says disjointed, subtle jumps will give a feeling of a dream or a mental stress sequence with a resolution. And let's see, Hungry Boy said, "I love the secondary characters." He says, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
And what's that? H for hot parties. He says, MMM says, a soldier on drugs. I'm surprised that they haven't played Strawberry Fields. And in the end, they even try to sell us a record. Not to talk about these golden pajamas they stole from my mom. UFO usually is lots better, so I have to be hard with this one. 2.1 out of 10. Whoa, you really didn't like that one, buddy.
Oh, that's low. Yeah, that's
low there, man.
Grade too.
But I think it just comes from disappointment, because the thing is that if you are playing with the idea of storytelling and you want to mix it up a little bit, and you want to give it that literary quality by adding something like some type of, it was all but a dream. You have to be really, really, really meticulous in that type of delivery. And like I said, you do have to provide some foreshadowing. You do have to provide a couple of times, maybe at least once, where the audience says, what is going on here? And they doubt themselves, and then in the end it comes full circle and they feel very satisfied, and it's all great, and somebody eats a handful of popcorn and says, I knew it all along from that moment when he went all blurry or something like that. You know what I mean? Right. So there has to be a payoff for the audience. So I understand why Masters Maniac Mexico is disappointed.
One last bit. Fiona had something else to say. She said, I think in this case, it was suitable to be ambiguous. Unlike the Dallas thing and what they do today, this was not a cop-out. This was a deliberate attempt to get the viewer thinking. Could be. Like I said, I'm not sure. I don't have a handle on what the reasoning behind it was. It what one way or the other. But as good as this show is, as good as these people are, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I would think they mainly just, for some reason, I don't know. I've never read any background on the episode, but I think they just made a mistake. I don't know though.
That's what I think too. And I wish that we could all afford that $600. Is it $600? I think it's like close to $600 or $700 in
the book or whatever. Yeah.
Canadian bucks. I would love to have that book, but that book is insanely expensive. There's no way I would ever be able to afford that book, but that's the only book that I would trust in uncovering information behind the scenes.
Still haven't found a cheap version yet. Yeah.
Michael Beacom, take care, my friend. You have a good night, buddy.
Good night, Michael. And kiss Cassandra on the cheek for me, please. Tell her that we all said hello.
Take care, bud. This was all a dream. Destroyed Jacob's ladder for me. Oh, said Hungry Boy. I never watched that because it had Tim Robbins in it, didn't it? So there you go.
Oh yeah, Tim Robbins is that. Yeah. Creepy movie. Yeah.
Ooh! I just missed an opportunity. Please excuse me. I'm sorry, fellas. Be seeing you.
Be seeing you. Yeah. One day we will review The Prisoner.
And I'd love to be rescued by Gay, right?
Purple yeah.
Gay is gorgeous and brilliant, and
she looks extra gorgeous in this episode.
Yeah, she's delicious.
But really delicious in this one. Yeah,
incredible, and in charge on the moon base.
That's right.
And smart too. Brains and looks. Yep.
Leave Paul in the sauna.
You really don't like Paul. I like Paul.
And you don't like guys with hairy backs, Raquel? What's the guy supposed to do? You don't like guys with hairy backs? What's the poor guy supposed to do?
It was the 60s and 70s. They all had. Nobody shaved that crap off
their backs.
It's
what if you're
men did not shave backs back then?
you're Italian, you got
unless
lots
you're
of
Steve
hair.
Reeves.
Trust me.
Only Steve Reeves shaved his back then.
Those manly,
I think a lot of men
with lots
don't
hair.
have back hair, and a lot of men do.
Well, there's only one way to find out. But,
yeah, but he let his get long, and because of his shirt, it was flat, so it looks like it belongs on his nether regions. Just get some wax, wax that.
That's another criticism of the episode for me. I saw more of Paul Foster than I ever wanted to see.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. And
he's in good shape though.
And that's another reason why I gave it such a low grade is because Paul Foster was supposed to be the eye candy for the ladies.
Well, they liked it, didn't they?
Yeah, and they did, and they loved it. For me, ick.
Well, I agree with the ick, but I mean, I'd love to be in the same shape as that dude. I mean, he's in good shape. So. But
yeah.
I like Paul. I mean, and he even sang very well at the end of the episode. So
he did sing very well.
He's got a good voice. Yeah, was he ever in a lot of actors are, also in
he's probably
Broadway
a singer. Yeah, I'm sure he probably did sing at some point.
I'm Team Freeman, and Freeman is all the sexy that I need because he's a man.
What about Straker?
He's a I love Straker. You know I love Straker.
What if he had hair on his back though?
I bet he did.
He was smart enough to cover it up because the first time he was going to be with a lady, he knew that he would need a full body wax. Just get rid of all that.
Yeah, there was no Amazon to buy man groomers back in the 60s, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm just saying, it's okay if you got a little bit of carpet on the front. It's okay. I don't mind. You know, I watched Magnum PI and even made the Canadian joke. It was Magnum PEI, and fine. Tom Selleck, handlebar mustache. I'm good with all that. But you have to admit that the hair on his neck, the front of his neck, the back of his neck, and on the tops of his shoulders and his back, it looked like it belonged on the nether regions. And for me, that's a gigantic. Can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah.
Wow. Wax off.
Yeah. Do some maintenance.
Jeez.
But everything was well set up. Even this scene with the doctor, and they're explaining how they're gonna, take him out of this liquid atmosphere. Everything is top notch. So it's really just the ending that I think sinks it for a lot of people. Didn't kill it entirely for me, but
Princess Fiona, I think I think you're probably right. And now that I recall, that was oh my goodness, I never put it together before. Spy Who Loved Me. That was on Michael Billington?
Mm-hmm.
Billington was his name.
I think it's Billington.
That was him in Spy Who Loved Me at the beginning. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's
James Bond killed him.
Michael Billington. Yep.
Yeah, he was in that. I forgot that he was the guy that got killed. Oh my goodness! Wow.
And he passed away young
Princess Fiona.
Age 63.
Oh wow, Princess Fiona, you know your stuff.
Yeah, she does. She's a geek.
Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah, but she knows old stuff. That means I'm not gonna say you're old because that would be rude, but you know the good old stuff. How about that?
But maybe she's just chronic. You don't know.
When you meet someone that knows a lot of the older stuff too, doesn't mean they're old, but sometimes you go, wow, man, they know stuff from my generation that usually only people from my geek ass generation know. And I love it, but I love hearing that. So
yeah. Yep.
He had hair too then. Yeah. Yep. He was the spy who loved me.
And actually, I'm just checking his bio, and they said he screen tested for Bond, and he was said to have been Broccoli's first choice had Roger Moore not been available.
Wow.
For Your Eyes Only.
He could have been Bond.
He did.
They would have waxed him. I'm telling you.
And
they didn't wax Connery. Good.
No, but Connery didn't have hair on his back.
He did.
No, he didn't.
He had hair in his front.
He had hair on his front, it's okay. Look, if you don't have any hair on your head, that's okay. If you have hair on your chest, that's okay. But if you have anything on your neck, shoulders, and back that looks like it belongs on your private spot, you need to wax that off.
That explains it, Fiona. Her dad was a super nerd. She was raised on Tolkien and TOS. I just love you for that. Love you for that. No, so you got to be honest with you, though. I just watched this episode today, and other than you told me he had hair on anywhere, I don't know.
Like he's naked through the whole
on
episode.
His back?
Like
I'm not looking at the dude when he's got his shirt up. It's like it's not even registering on my consciousness because he's a dude. Yep. So I mean, I understand his clothes were off, but I don't. I'm watching that going. Just need this scene to be over. I don't really want to. I don't want to look at this dude. you know, and it's nothing against him. I mean, I'd like to look like that guy. I'd go have me some fun somewhere, but
I could have me some fun somewhere.
I would if I could like change him, like be a shapeshifter and change into a dude that looks like Paul Foster. I'd be out of the club right now.
He's too small.
Even in the 2023,
he is not tall enough to get on the ride.
Oh, he's a big dude.
I could picture him for Bond. I could
he's
picture
a tall
Bond.
dude.
I don't think he is.
They actually
tall, isn't he?
He almost for Her Majesty's Secret Service was in contention, you know, when Connery didn't come back. So it was interesting, yeah. So, but he unfortunately passed away of cancer in 2005, F cancer at the age of 63.
Of course, Fiona likes him.
There we
Jill
go.
also really likes him.
Well, I've never look the ladies.
Got some hubba.
As a guy doesn't really care about dudes. I don't know, so I always go by what quote unquote the ladies say. And I've always heard, you know, he was on that show. Female, you know, viewers, just as we, of course, as dudes, love gay and what's it, the Nina and Veronica Lake and all these gorgeous girls on the show. I hear the ladies were a little partial to Paul. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that was his function, right? That was his function because, you know, unfortunately Freeman, you know, when they were taking, you know, audience feedback, they didn't find Freeman sexy enough.
She's gonna hate Connery and Sardoz.
Ooh. But no, it's just anyway, look, I cannot be trusted and I cannot be lumped in with like the quote unquote the ladies, you know, like the big group known as the ladies, because everyone knows I'm an academic and I'm a weirdo. Okay. I like rugby style guys. I like nerdy guys. I really do. Like Elon Musk, I think is hot. I do, except for he has
nothing
too much
to do with the money. Oh,
he has a poisonous level of money that would absolutely ruin your life. And anybody who's had a touch of money knows what I'm talking about. That's when your life becomes consumed with wealth. And wealth is not a good purpose or for your life or a lifestyle. I mean, it might be fine for other people. I'm just saying it's not right for me. Okay.
I'm waiting for my life to be ruined.
I did not enjoy it. I didn't like the way that it made people behave. Okay. I was very happy to go back to, you know, having a very modest life because I didn't want to deal with the BS. But yes, if he were middle class, I think he's a super hottie.
I'm glad that's one of the easier things about being a man. Attraction is just so much easier for you. See hot chick, boom. 90% of dudes are attracted to the same kind of hot chick. Now they're dudes in different variations of ladies for sure. But for the most part, hot is hotter. You know, it's pretty easy to. With women, I've seen that a lot. Where women, you know, not all women are into the same exact types of dudes.
It's true.
You know, it really is. Now again, that doesn't mean I don't know some dudes that are a bit specialized in their taste in ladies. By the way, I do know some, but you don't run across that as much. You know,
it's true.
With the fellas, it's pretty easy.
It's true.
For us.
It's true.
I mean, I do love me a hot redhead. Don't get me wrong, but I'm hot as hot. I'm not gonna go. You'll never hear me go. Yeah, but she's got blonde hair. I don't think. No, she's hot and she's a blonde. That's fantastic. I mean,
but if you're a redhead, you're hotter though. Just
I like redheads. I love redheads. No, but it's not even about that. See, black hair. Oh my God, gorgeous. I'm not too big into the only thing. Purple only works if you're working at the moon base. But so other than that, if you're not a moon base kind of girl with purple, and blue doesn't do it for me either, you know, or on these other crazy colors. But you know.
Yeah, well, this is true. This is true. But I do have to explain that Elon, because now everyone's in the chat is blowing up. He has a rugby style body. I enjoy the rugby style body. I enjoy that. I don't like somebody who's too buff, but I don't like somebody who is, you know, floppy either. And have you ever heard him talk? Like, I was completely blown away by his personality, how articulate he is, how diplomatic he is, how he, when he is engaging in rhetoric, he's actually so intelligent that he is open to changing his mind, which is a mark of superior intellect, being able to change your opinion through information. and just how gentle and soft-spoken he is. And he's brilliant. And I mean, whenever he talks about, you know, like saving and changing the world and moving mankind forward. And so for me, I find all of those things very attractive. If he were middle class or you know, white collar reasonably, I think he's a 10 out of 10. That works for me. So if that explains it to everyone, I am a nerd, I am an academic, and I like nerds. I really do. When I think of Jason Momoa, I want to run in the other direction. It's just gross. That is a giant meathead. It's sweaty. It probably smells terrible. I don't want anything to do with it. No.
You didn't like him on Stargate Atlantis?
No, I never watched that crap. I'm SG1 only. SG1.
Oh my God! Well, I'll tell you what. To answer like Al Bundy, yeah, I can see that. That's great. Very open-minded. To me, I like Hooters. I like Hooters.
No, I'm just explaining.
No,
like,
I totally get. Oliver Belamonte, hello there. Well, welcome. No, I get you. I'm kidding around. I totally understand. Yeah, and that's the way to be. Those dudes are just shallow. We can't help it.
And some ladies too. Let's not discriminate. Yeah.
Nah, but let's face it, we got the
lots of ladies do. Lots of ladies really love that Thor guy too. What's his real
name? Chris Hemsworth.
Hemsworth. They love it. For me, that's no. Too pretty and too hard. His body's too hard and he's way too pretty. If y'all watch that show Yellowstone, I really love the Rip character.
I love you for that, Fiona, by the way. Let's get to some starred ones real quick. Because I love Fiona for this. I don't like girly girls. I like men. You know what? I'm not even into dudes, and I can't. I go, if I nowadays, because of the way society is, when I watch something with a macho dude or a guy that's like a manly man, I go, you know what? Yes, I'm glad that when I hear women are into that still, because I wonder sometimes, because a whole generation that thinks, you know, that likes Harry Potter, if you see what I mean. I'm not talking about kids either. The guy's still a little skinny weasel. They're like the little skinny Twilight boy twerps and stuff like that. The fact that there's still men who like the rugged guys, the Clint Eastwoods, you know, and the John Waynes, and the badass guys, the manly men. Yeah, the manly men. We appreciate that. She also says, Rip. Attractive is different than being able to stand someone wants the clothes are back on.
Exactly, Fiona. Yeah. You know, like these girls are all chasing after these guys who only eat, you know, super dark chocolate and barely drink water so that they have 12-pack abs. That doesn't work for me. I have to have somebody who can have a wonderful conversation, and he's interested and interesting, and he has a full inner life filled with intrinsic and extrinsic pursuits. And that's, to me, when somebody becomes attractive, when you can sit down and have an amazing conversation with the person. And for me, that's way more important than 12-pack abs and bouncing a quarter off his butt. And plus, those guys aren't fun anyway. Those guys are like, I like guys who are buff, don't get me wrong, but just the super hard guys and the super muscly meathead guys, I don't find them attractive. And those guys will never, ever eat ice cream with you. Like they're so regimented. It's like 3 cans of tuna a day. Okay, enjoy your tuna. I'm going out and I'm going to have a cheeseburger. See ya.
By the way, Mark, your Giants took a cornerback. What the hell?
Oh, they took a cornerback?
Yeah. Anyway,
we got DJ Ronnie G with a member chat.
Yeah. So
hey, what's wrong with Stargate Atlantis?
Oh, I'm not getting into that.
Sorry, let's not get into
like
that.
Stargate
Fiona likes Rip. Oh, I really like Rip. Rip works for me.
Oliver, let's go back to some geekness for Oliver, because he is always very nice, and he likes to ask the geek questions. So let's do one for him, because it's good to see Oliver. He says, Clobby Mark Raquel, if you had the choice, who among your favorite Star Trek heroes and villains in film, TV franchise can qualify to be a Star Wars Jedi Master or a Sith Lord?
Spock.
Spock would he be? Would he find the Force logical?
I think he'd be so in tune with the
Sith
Force.
Lord, though. Well, Khan would definitely be a Sith Lord.
He would. Khan would be a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
And he would be amazing, because he would just throw you around like a rag doll.
Right. And I think Spock would work as a Jedi Master, Oliver. Yeah, I think that's if I had to speculate on that one.
The
Well, 'cause
Doomsday
you'd always
Machine
have a
being the
handle on
Death
his
Star.
emotions.
Wouldn't that be funny if the Doomsday Machine was the Death Star?
Oh, cool.
Well, it pretty much is really. Oh my goodness. Hey, Stephen Ransom. I saw you here earlier. Stephen Ransom, good to see you, buddy.
Hey.
Yeah, well, little Scotty, a Gold Ducat. Yeah, there's an evil SOB right there.
Yeah, but because he's reptilian in nature, I'm not quite sure. Like the way he moves his neck around and stuff, he's more crocodilian. Like he doesn't seem to be, like crocodiles. They're not. I can't imagine them as being swift. I mean, they're quick, but they have to snap a hold of you and then roll. And
But
so
no hair in their backs, though.
Be quiet. But no, like when I think of Gul Dukat, I don't think he's swift moving because of the whole neck apparatus, right? And I think the actors are trained not to move the prosthetics too much. But I do think that it interferes with the viewer's idea of how agile they are. I don't particularly see them as agile.
Wow. Was that? Oh, JT Kirk. I'm sorry to see that, JT Kirk. Yeah, the Lions.
Ouch.
Man, it hurts to be a Lions fan, buddy. I'm sorry, man. I see that. What did you see? Raquel,
Look at the gift that Fiona sent you.
Oh, thank you, Fiona. You're too kind. I appreciate that. She says Abe Books has the UFO book for $118 with $5 shipping. And that's probably not. It'd be way more. Shipping would be way more, and you're up to where you are anyway. Raquel, but that's crazy, Fiona. I don't know why that book has to be so much. But
I don't know. It's heartbreaking.
Well, send Rip and he'll get it for you. There we go.
Well, can't you use a real picture of Rip?
Well, I just had that one because when you're in trouble.
But I want to see the real Rip.
You want to see the real Rip?
Yeah, show the real Rip.
I was short notice. All right, I'll find a Rip for you.
If we're going to help Oliver, we should help Dottie too. He says, if you had a choice among your favorite Star Trek heroes and film TV franchise would qualify to be a Power Ranger. I don't know much about Power Rangers, buddy.
I don't know anything about. I know less than.
However,
I do a little bit. I do.
Well, you do. I would say that since Kirk's my go-to guy with Kirk anywhere, I would have to say Kirk. But that's a bias because Kirk could do anything. So Simply Steve, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Simply Steve.
Steve says Sulu. There you go.
Kirk or Sulu, I think could both be Power Rangers. Yep.
Right.
I agree with that.
I think Sulu. So, yeah.
Because the sword fighting.
I think Uhura could also be I think she could be the Pink Power Ranger.
She could. There you go.
Yeah.
She could sing too pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
The shipping price is from the UK. Yeah, but it would be. Shipping anything to Canada, Fiona, is ridiculous. Expensive there.
I love you, Clobby. It took me 3 years to teach Americans how ridiculous it is. And before, do you remember when people were like, "Nah, it can't be that much"?
Yeah, what are you, nuts? What are you
maybe like maybe double what something would be here, but no, it's not even double.
Yeah, well, even when we were talking about property taxes after the show last night when I was on with Sax, Sax and I started killing ourselves laughing when they were talking about the property taxes in the U.S. We're like, that's nothing. We laughed and laughed and laughed. We were thoroughly amused.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what that last thing I sent Wade, but. What was that now? I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, it weighed nothing. It was like a patch.
Yep. You
could send something that weighs like just the weight of an envelope.
Yep.
Which is basically what that weighed, right? I mean, it was zero. Mm-hmm. It was literally a patch that you sew onto something.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to know what that cost, Fiona.
It was a lot. I was actually shocked.
Only compared to. I mean, it's like wasn't horrible. It's like wasn't like. However, it was ridiculous compared to what it weighed for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like so now because you sent me something. What was that last thing you sent me? Whatever you sent me that weighed more than I don't know. So coming back from your way, I don't know if it's more or less than if I sent you something. Is there a difference? Like if you send me something or I send you something? Or
no, there's no difference.
Okay, well then that must have been crazy. Because that actually was. What was it?
Are you out of those? Should I send you more?
Yeah, I'm almost out, but I'm trying to. But that was only like 2 bottles. But still, it weighed a lot more than what I sent you. I guess. So.
But you're worth it.
No, I'm not. But the point is, how much? I can only imagine how much that.
It's a lot.
It's just crazy.
Yep,
Anyway.
it's a lot. And when you go to checkout, like a lot of folks check out the prices and they're like, okay, so this seems reasonable or whatever. But then you get to check out.
She said she checked on their website. It's only $6.22 to ship to Canada.
Oh wow!
But that's because it's from UK, not from us.
I will go and check Abe's book.
But then the book's still too much though. It's $118. That's great.
Still a lot better than $500 or $600 or whatever from the person selling it in the States. Because once you do the conversion, and our dollar is really weak right now, it turns into a hella gong show.
Okay, well, go check it out. Maybe
I love Abe's book. So are you going to show Rip or not?
Here we go. There you go.
See, this guy right here has a dad bod, and he is 100% cowboy. He is a sexy cowboy, and this dad bod works for me. He's got nice wide shoulders. This guy will eat ice cream with you. This guy is hotter than hell. Woo!
He'll do other things with you too, like rope a horse. Yep.
Anyway, 10 out of 10.
Go horse riding. Yep.
Except for he doesn't even exist because the real actor, like, I don't assign any feelings to the actor because you guys know I'm not like that. I don't like Hollywood types. I just mean the character. I think he's a 10 out of 10 as a man, even though he's not real.
I can't believe you put that picture there.
The first officer requested it. I'm the third person in the chain here. If you're gonna put her in the brig, maybe.
I got it. No, that's fine. To make a point, but I don't really need to see that kind of stuff. JT Kirk says it's easier to send it to me. I'll drive over the border and drop it in the mail in Windsor, save 90% on the time and money. Wow, you live that close to the border? Oh, you do it. Well, you do kind of, don't you? Well,
make a run on the border.
I'd take you up on that offer someday.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Oh my goodness, man. So I'll tell you what. Since you won't be here Saturday night, and you'll be on a mission, number one.
I am.
We should get a little Trek talk in before that, and maybe you could help us decide what we're going to talk about for Trek talk Saturday night. What would be something good to talk about? I get it. I know, not filth for one thing. No
what
filth,
about,
of course.
What if you did like a small segment for not the whole show, but just a small segment where people submitted factoids. So things that circulated in the community that people on social media absolutely assert are facts, and they're absolute crap.
Nothing that's going to require me to do any work.
Oh, okay. So let me think of something else then.
Are you crazy? Nothing that requires work.
Backtrack.
You know what? Because every week we require work because we got to sit through episodes.
It's true.
I got to tell you, I was sitting through episodes this week, and I got in the middle of one because I forgot. I forgot to ask you whether we were or get you to remind me whether we're doing it this week or not. And I got to the fourth of the episodes to review. Yeah. I'm like, I can't take this anymore. Do you know? I said for some reason, and I wish Zathras were here. I'm not kidding you now. I'm sitting in the middle of an episode. By the way, everyone don't think I don't like Star Trek Deep Space Nine. When you have to watch it 4 episodes every week, over the course of years, it kind of gets on you sometimes, especially if a lot of the episodes aren't as good as you remember. In the middle of an episode, I stopped. And I said, I switched over, and I started watching Babylon 5 again. And you know what? I Lady Mist, the lovely Lady Mist. Hey,
Lady Mist.
And you know what? I started at Sheridan. I mean, I bypassed the first season and started because I like Sinclair. I like the first season.
What happened to Sinclair in real life is so heartbreaking that when I actually learned about it and I went on that journey with him, you already know I have a lot of difficulty changing captains. And I cried. I actually cried.
That's why I didn't tell you about it. If I remember right, I didn't tell you about it before.
I can't believe it. And I also think that would be a lesson to the current swine that occupy Hollywood, how to treat someone. I cannot believe the way that the Babylon 5 people got behind that gentleman and helped him. They helped him financially. They helped him emotionally. They helped him socially.
JMS.
Yeah, they were there for him. They were there
Right.
to care for him. They didn't abandon him. They didn't ostracize him. And they certainly weren't airing his dirty laundry. Those people that are involved with Babylon 5, they're all class acts. Those are premium people you want to know, you want to work with, you want to hang out with. Babylon 5, cherry people. Great human beings.
Oh, Fiona, I love the first season. Don't get me wrong.
Me too, Fiona.
But I was just sitting around. Now I've watched the show so much, a few times straight through, but I can pop in and start at any point and for some reason it felt like comfort food for the soul to watch a few episodes of the second season with Sheridan just getting started. Sheridan is fantastic. He's as close as Kirk as any captain's ever going to be for me. And,
watching him endear himself to people in that first season,
God, he's so great.
Was pretty remarkable. You remember me late night walkie-talkieing you, because folks in the audience, walkie-talkie. The three of us, we walkie-talkie all the time. And remember when I walkie-talkied you, I was like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I like this guy.
Yeah, because you don't like change. You didn't want to change from.
No,
I mean, you had a whole season getting used to Sinclair, and I didn't mean to get us on a B5 tangent. It's just that we talking Trek Saturday night anyway. And don't worry, Fiona, I'm going to address what you wrote there in a second. But I don't know. I got in a weird mood. I guess you get into a rut reviewing episodes, and because it was a couple of episodes before that one that I stopped that made me so mad. Don't worry, I'll rant about it next week when we review it. But I was just like, I just needed a break, and I wanted to go to the show that they ripped off. And where the heck is Athos when you need her?
Right, JT.
Yeah.
But it was fun to just sit there, I'm not like I'm going to start binging it over again, but I can throw episodes on there for a little bit, and just remember, good God, look how young they are. I mean, the B5 crew. There's one of the things that made me sad last time I went back and watched it, though, because knowing how many of them are no longer with us, I'm watching the credits of an episode of B5, for example, and it'll first two, I'm smiling because that person's still with us. Then we get to one that's no longer. I'll get a friend. Oh no, he's no longer. Oh, and then more than half of them are gone now.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yep.
Beautiful show. Fiona said, she said, what about we share all our Star Trek prop replicas? Well, I don't have any, but if you have pictures of anything like that you would like to share with us, Fiona, we would love to see them.
Yeah, Clobby loves that kind of stuff. Clobby's doing a blog for he's been doing podcasting for over 10 years. And he's really great at just doing a one-on-one with the chat. I think that's also why we make a good team when we do Saturday Night Star Trek, is because he and I are both very much engaged with having a conversation with our friends. And you guys are all our friends. You're our friends in Star Trek. You're our friends in geekdom. You're our friends in nerddom. And so, I know he would really enjoy that. He loves that banter, and he loves engaging with the chat like I do. So showing those pictures, he loves that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. She said you missed 2 Dorothy Fontana episodes. Yeah, for the first season. No, I do love the first season, Fiona. I didn't, I somehow there's a certain rhythm to the second season through the end of the third that is just magical to me. But no, if I were going back for a serious rewatch, I'd even sit through the pilot just to do it right. So, and then all the movies, all this stuff, that would just be kind of just, because I've seen it so much. Well, not as much as TOS or something like that, but I've binged it a couple of times. We needed a break, so I went somewhere where I thought I'd have a little, it was, who knows? I might not even stay watching it for long. Just right now, it's a bit of a fun reprieve from what the monotony
tedious episodes
of some of those Deep Space Nine episodes.
It's funny because Zach was bringing that up during our show, and he just said, "What do you do when you get to an episode that sucks?" And nobody's ever asked me that before, because I rewatch beginning at the January every year. And I just said, that's when I start researching. That's when I start looking into what I think people are going to say about it, what's true, what's false. And I look at all the information in a very academic way to verify or dispel rumors or false information about the show and stuff like that. And that's how I cope when the suckage is really bad. But I thought it was cool that he asked me that, and I really appreciated that question, because that's how I beat it when it's bad. Like when it's like Raspberry Fest 2023, that's how I beat it. So that was a cool question.
Very good question. And Fiona also says the Black Star Starkiller plotline was specifically written to help endear him to fans. Yeah, well, and it worked. It worked. I mean, I liked Sinclair a lot, but Sheridan, man, it's just. And she also wrote she says, we rewatch every 5 years. That seems appropriate. Yes, indeed.
Oh,
I can't say I blame you. It's a good way to do it. Little Scotty says, I like B5 more than DS9, and I like DS9. Yeah, I like DS9. I got a little burned out, in the sense that they're breaking it down piece by piece like we're doing.
Linear. It's horrible for you.
It's weird because I watched. I remember in 1993, whatever it was. I watched. I think Babylon 5 aired after it, if I'm not mistaken. I think DS9 may have come out before. Whichever one came out first. I watched DS9, the pilot, and then watched like one episode. Then just didn't care at that time. I'm an original series guy. I watched the first 5 or 6 seasons of TNG straight through, and then just kind of stopped after a while. Yeah. And then did that with DS9. Didn't watch much. Voyager, watched the pilot, then didn't watch much after that. But when I saw B5, I did not like the pilot at all. But when the series started up, I gave it another shot and really liked it. And then it just, of course, obviously goes without saying, I love the show. Yeah. And then many, many years later, of course, other than Trial and Tribulations, which I've watched a million times over the course of centuries, it was like 2016 before I decided to give DS9 another shot. Because someone was telling me, it's so good. You got to give it a chance. And I did. I got about 14 episodes into the first season, and I was okay until I saw an episode that I really hated. And I said, screw this. I'm not watching this anymore. But I didn't listen to myself. I disobeyed, and I watched anyway. And I was okay after that. And then went all the way through and just thoroughly enjoyed it, watching it on a one-time binge like that. I wasn't breaking it down into pieces like we're doing now or anything like that. I said, these are great characters, which I still think they are. They have a lot of, it's not science fiction, but at that point, it didn't matter as much to me, it seems. It was a good space drama war show with Star Trek. I still maintain at that time Star Trek shouldn't be that. Sean Carter, good to see you, my friend.
Sean Carter from Mars.
I still maintain that Star Trek shouldn't be a war show, but if it's going to be, this is a good one and it's well done. And so I liked it, and I became a honest to goodness fan of the show. And then when 2016 coming to an end, I decided that because it's the 50th anniversary, I'm going to finish up. I'm partial to Enterprise, which most people don't love. I've seen it tons of times, almost as much as I've seen the original series, but not quite, but close. And then, but I watched all it. I was going to finish up watching the bits and pieces of TNG that I may not have watched. I caught up on that. Then I decided, no matter how much it hurts, I'm going to sit through all of Voyager, but by the time this year runs out, and I slogged through Voyager. And so just so I could have watched all the 735, which, of course, is Raquel's term. I didn't know that number then. I just 66 through 05. And so there I was. And then every now and then, I would pop a DS9 episode in there here and there and go, I like this show. It's pretty cool. And it's a good show. And I liked it. But, of course, when we started doing this at the beginning of 2021 in January, we started with the original series, and of course, I've watched that so much, especially my favorite episodes, but the whole thing, that never was there a time when I got burned out. Just even if it were some of the crappy third season episodes. Even a crappy episode, I might criticize it, but I can watch Star Trek original series. Never could I burn out on that.
No, me neither.
Animated series, love it, no problem. The movies, no problem.
Sean Carter, thank you, sweetheart.
Sean Carter, thank you for gifting those memberships. You are too kind. Anyone, if you don't have a membership, please avail yourself of one. Dad Man, good to see you.
That icon there. Hey, Dad Man.
Look at what?
I'm not talking to Dad Man. He likes the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, Black Dad Man, you New Jersey
making me
devil.
sad.
Mrs.
With
Dad
the Swiss
Man, hello there.
Swiss goaltender's not allowed to beat the Rangers. Come on.
Hello, Mrs. Dad Man.
Here as well.
So just to finish up, I just want to say that My point about this was, then when we got to the TNG, it was a rough ride for Raquel and I, but by the time we got done of it, I was like, I wasn't burnt out, but I was like, I can't wait to get to Deep Space Nine. After we did it, we did the TNG movies. We were like, yeah, that's going to be so much easier. That's going to be so much better. That's going to be. Now I'm kind of missing TNG. Just now that I'm watching this, I still like the show. And in the first 3 seasons, I wasn't having too much of a problem, Raquel. But the past few weeks, I think I'm burning it out on it because it's such a roller coaster ride. There's some great episodes. There's some, episodes that on further review, as they say, breaking them into individual pieces is affecting the show in a way I never thought it would.
Well,
but it's fun. I still like the show. We're having a good time, but getting a break isn't a bad thing either.
Well, I just want you to know too, though, that I feel differently and more strongly than I did before, because I've always watched in a linear fashion. But before, I felt very forgiving and very lighthearted about things. Was talking to me about this one time, and I'm very sure that it was he said, Raquel, has your relationship with Star Trek changed? And I have to say that it has. I just don't feel the same way about the people who made it and who got away from Gene's vision and the way that people are behaving in their private and their public and their professional lives with regard to, their feelings. And just, it's really spoiled it for me. Poopy Stew, Jonathan Fakey Pants, Marina Death Wish, just like, yeah. And the obnoxious Pip Squeak, like it's just so much. Like even Michael Dorn, when he went on the Shuttle podcast and he was saying these incredibly just crazy things that I never thought I would ever hear him say, and just the betrayal of the audience and of the IP. Like, I understand that a corporation took over Star Trek, and I understand that it's product now. But the thing is that the constant argument is against the fans and being really angry with the fans. But if you don't like Star Trek that much, and this has been going on for a few years now, you really hate Star Trek that much, why do you need its name? If you were such a great writer, and Star Trek requires so much rebooting and so much reformation and so much genuflection, and where you have to get down and bow down and make all that happen, why associate yourself with it? Like, it's very obvious that this is a rhetorical scheme used to manipulate the public, to get them to have more and more iterations of Star Trek so that the corporations can maximize their dollar value out of the original Star Trek. But for me, those aren't just words. We've interacted with these people on social media, and these people are adamant. They're treating us like we're children. They're treating us like we're idiots. We're supposed to accept that the new Star Trek will be Marvel. In their own words, it will be Marvel, and it will not be anything like that Gene Roddenberry would ever accept. And that Gene Roddenberry was a misogynist. This crap about his vision is a bunch of BS. He didn't even write Star Trek. All the crazy, messed up stuff they've said. At the end, where the rubber hits the road, where you're telling the truth and you're identifying who the gigantic liar pants is, why do you need his name? And why do you need the name of his show? Go do something else. Bye! Take your shadow and be goneth. Don't use the name. Don't use his name. Don't use his show name. Go do something else. And so, when I'm watching now, I'm thinking about all that toxic poison. I'm thinking about, this is the same guy who went to Gene Roddenberry every week and was, quote unquote, bouncing ideas off of him and getting shot down in flames. This is the guy who said that Gene Roddenberry was abusing animals because he had fish tanks on set and he wanted to set Livingston and all the other fish in the ready room free. And this is the guy who was so against the costumes on set that he went to a chiropractor and had a chiropractor write a note so that he could get out of wearing the spaceship costumes from this spaceship science fiction show. Like, and that he, you know, that he always knew that Gene hated him and all these things. Like, it's all adding up. It's all adding up. And it does affect how I feel about the show, even on rewatch.
No, I totally understand. Hey there, Cardinal Sin. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate you. It's good to see everyone. Cardinal Sin, folks. Gil says, my favorite trio on YouTube. Greetings to the panel, the mods, and the chat. Good to see you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much, man. Hope you're doing great tonight.
Lemon pie, I'm referring to Poopy Stew.
Hey, Lemon pie. Yep, Poopy Stew. Patrick Screwit. Mega Show, number one.
Yep.
Well, the other thing I wanted to add too was watching these episodes, and a little bit off the track, but backtracking, was when you watch them in order, especially if you watch 4 episodes a week, it's just such a different experience. Where sometimes you watch maybe a clunker and then you kind of forget about it, or you don't watch them all in order, and maybe you miss an episode once in a while, and then you go back and watch it on VHS tape if your sister didn't overwrite it with her one of her shows. But that happened to me many times. My sister would erase my Star Trek tape that I had set up and put on, whatever shows. But it's just so different. It's totally different when you watch it in order. But I think also, especially usually I watch like 2 or 3 episodes in a row too, and it kind of is not meant to be consumed that way. I think it's one a week is way it was created, and in some ways much better. So I don't know if most people in the audience, when they're doing Saturday Night Star Trek, do you guys watch them kind of all in a row, or do you wait to Saturday afternoon and say, oops, I got 4 episodes to watch now? Or I'm wondering how people consume it, but it is a lot different feel, I think, getting those back to back, especially if you got a couple of clunkers tossed in with those 4 episodes. You're like, oh god, I can see boy clobbering times to say, no, I just got to put something that really comfort food for the soul on again, like a Mirror or Galileo 7 or Babylon 5,
Lisa!
which is kind of not fair to the show. Hi Lisa. Which is kind of not fair to the show, maybe.
Oh, the pepperoni.
Bob. Sorry, continue.
Well, another nice thing about corporations, though, they did Amazon just sent me a $5 credit to buy Leonard, my 50-year friendship with Leonard Nimoy by William Shatner, and I had another credit, so I get the book for $3. So,
nice.
I mean,
nice.
So I haven't read that.
I heard something about that, but I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I'll show the image of it, I guess.
Nice.
Here. I don't know if anyone's read it or, but of course,
I think it's fairly new.
I've got a bunch of William Shatner books and Leonard Nimoy books, of course, but this just came across my transom. So for $3, like I can't not get it. Cool. So so that's the that looks really nice there. Yep.
Oh man, that's a heart right there. That's the heart of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Only thing missing is D.
Yep.
D. Kelly.
Yep.
So I don't know if anyone in the chat has read it. Let me know if they like the book.
I think it's pretty new, man. If it's out at all. If it's out at all.
There's a different cover. Yeah, there's I
love that cover.
Yeah, that's a great cover. Yeah, so this book has, maybe this is a newer version, or I'm not sure.
Oh man, I love the picture of the two of them sitting there on the couch. Look at that.
Why didn't you just ask Bill?
I could,
ask Bill. Look at that.
If you just ask Bill politely on Twitter, he'll answer you.
Well, here we go. 2016. Okay, so this is saying 2016.
Oh, it's from 2016. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen it. Thought it was recent. Yep. Cool. There you go. Well, there you go.
Yep. So everyone check out that book, I guess.
Yeah. That's cheap. Good price for it. Good price.
$3. Yeah, $3 is a good price. Yep.
Yep. Nothing like the Holy Trinity.
Yep.
Nothing
They're
like
the best.
the
They're the
Trinity,
best.
the triumvirate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, they make up the heart and soul of all of Trek is the triumvirate, of course.
Yep.
There's the original series. Maybe I'll do something. I don't know. We'll talk about something like characters. Oh, you know, let's have the best. What's that? I have the best of CD. That's Shatner and Leonard Nimoy singing. It's named Space Out. Oh yeah. Did anyone ever listen to that old Gene Roddenberry album from the '70s called Inside Star Trek? That's a great. I used to listen. We had a vinyl of it, but a club made me like a audio tape of it. I used to ride around listening to it in the car all the time. Like interviews with Gene Roddenberry and Shatner and stuff like that. It's really, and Mark Leonard even.
I love Minimus.
And Mark Leonard
Minimus isn't a friend.
What was it called?
Minimus is a library.
He is. It was called it had Mark Leonard in character as Sarek on the thing as well, being interviewed by Gene Roddenberry. That was pretty cool. But it's called Inside Star Trek. I'm sure someone's put it on YouTube from the '70s.
I'll never forget the way, you know, that after Gene was passed away, the comments of Mark Leonard on the way that they wrote off his character. And, you know, in the original source material from Paula M. Block's book, and paraphrasing, not verbatim, but paraphrasing very closely here, you know, they did me dirty. They were, what they did was terrible to me. And, you know, it was totally unnecessary. And I just think, you know, wow, you know, just hearing his own words, verified words, it's heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking.
Ezra says, question for all three of you: have any of you read Leonard Nimoy's "I Am Not Spock"? Not you know, I think I bought it back in the '80s, and then I only got lost in something. But I was like kind of aggravated by the title and never read it. But I know a lot of people have.
Yeah, I have a copy of it. I have it in paperback, and I also believe I have it in the hardback with the dust jacket, no less. But I have not read it, and it's not because I didn't want to read it. It's just I sort of felt like he had a bit of a crisis. I think that, you know, every person comes to Hollywood, not every person, but I think, you know, some people come to Hollywood and they find a character that they're really good at playing, and they're so satisfied, and they're just having such a great time. They feel honored to have fans and to be a part of a television show, or to be a part of a string of films or whatever have you, and they really embrace it. And then I think sometimes there can be people who, because they have a lot of people stroking them and fluffing them, you know, they get this idea. They get this idea in their head that they're worth so much more. And so they quickly fall out of love with their fans, and they fall out of love with what they're doing, and they sort of feel, oh, you know, I've been typecast, and I'm worth so much more. And then they go on, and it doesn't really quite work out like they think it will. And I think that that's unfortunate, because, you know, as much as I love that human being, I can't even say his name and criticism in the same sentence. I think it's really ungrateful. And I think that you should be gracious. I think that, you know, I grew up in the music business, and I've been on stage my entire life, mostly as like a musician, acting, radio, like I've always done that sort of thing. And anytime people tell you that they love you and that you've made magic in their lives, and that you matter to them, and that what you did had an effect on them, or that they appreciate you, I think that that is pretty much like, I mean, is there anything more in life than that? Than having somebody else reach out to you and tell you that your life matters, and that you're talented, and that they care for you? And I think it can be pretty bratty and kind of, well, not kind of. I find it morally reprehensible to sort of feel like you're not grateful for that. That you think you deserve more. You want that Oscar. You want that Academy Award for you know, the best film, and you want it every year. I mean, what are you really saying when you're saying, you know, I don't want to be this character anymore? personally for me, I have always appreciated anybody who would listen to anything I say, anything I sing, anything I write, and they're precious to me. I feel like I've made a connection to them, and I am incredibly honored to even share their space, for them to even consider reading anything that I write, or anything that I sing, or anything that I say. It's incredible, and people should be more grateful. I'm sorry. I know I don't like to criticize him. He's a hero in my life. He was my hero throughout my entire childhood. But I just think that we need to be more grateful of one another. We need to love one another better. We need to show better appreciation. And I think even that great man could have learned quite a bit about being humble. When people are fluffing you and pumping your tires, it's up to you to say, no, I care. I feel happy that people would even allow me to do this. I'm humbled by this. And that's, I think, the only reaction. And I think that if you're one of these people who has any other reaction, you're not going to get my support. There's a difference between being an artisan who wants to go after your craft and being a narcissist who just needs pets. I don't need pets. I would do everything that I do if no one was watching at all. And the fact that anybody wants to engage me on it is the highest compliment of my life. And I love those people and appreciate them more than words could ever convey. And so we need some meekness, we need some humbleness, we need some gratitude, and we should ask more of one another in that way. If you love someone, you tell that person that you love them. If you think that person is great, you should tell them that you think that they're great. Don't hold your cards back, and don't feed narcissists. Feed good people instead.
There you go. And later, though, he did books, like as mentioned by Sean Carter, was asking, did he do a book later? Said, I Am Spock. The actual working title for that was, what, That Much Money? Oh, hell yes, I'm Spock.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I'm sorry, but
it's a dark.
People change over. And I think
change.
People change, and then he did probably, you get angry being typecast. I can only imagine, what it's like. But of course, a lot of actors never even make it to the point of getting typecast.
That's exactly it, right? That's exactly it. Imagine having a full life where people bought your albums, even though you're a singer and you're clearly not a singer. And people have bought your photography, even though you're clearly not a photographer. And people have made conventions and clubs about you. Wouldn't you just say to yourself, wow, I did something really special here, and these people matter to me, and I matter to them. They love me, and I should appreciate them. It just blows me away. Like, Clobby and I have talked about this extensively, about how, like, we weren't angry. We weren't, like, hateful towards this whole thing that happened with him. It's that he and I were both incredibly disappointed. It's like, how could you do that? How could you do that? How could you be like that? You mean that's not good enough? Having millions and being adored is not good enough? You want more? I don't know, guys. I don't know if I can protect that. I don't know if I can defend that. And I can tell you, I don't want to defend that. I think that's kind of gross. I don't really want to know someone like that. I want to push back against that.
No, I understand.
I can kind of understand his thinking, though. That I can't even remember if I've read the book or not, but I do have both books, both hardcovers, on my library shelf. But I mean, it's got to be really tough, though, too. If you're very talented and you're trained and as an actor, and you want to have all these multiple different types of roles, and then then you get stuck in just that one role. Look at Adam West, how much we love him as Batman. He's just so phenomenal in that role. But at one point they actually talked about maybe him playing James Bond, and then once he got typecast as Batman, he couldn't get work for a long time. And he was a great actor, and but people could only see him as Batman. But he was a very generous guy, and Times you got to meet him a couple of times right at cons. But in social media, he's so much fun to follow on social media. He'd always post pictures about cooking his pot roast and different things, and he just seemed like such a genuine guy. I don't but he did, talk about being typecast, and it does have to hurt. But as a fan of something, Batman or Spock, or you don't want to hear that from one of your heroes. What are you, nuts? How could you not appreciate how much support and love that we give you, and how could you kind of throw that back at the fans? So I think that's
and look at the fans, look at the demographics and the psychographics of the fans. It's not rich people. It's generally like a working class people. And in some cases, some psychographics and demographics are actually like the working poor. These are people who get up every day, and some of them have 2 jobs, and they work in fast food, or they work in thankless retail where they're abused, and you get to pretend for a living. And they put you on a pedestal, and they're never ever going to pull you down from that pedestal. They think you're great, and you inspire them. You give them a chance to get away. You give them a chance to feel something in your music or feel something in your performance. I mean, really, like for me, I just think that it's all like verbal diarrhea. The bottom line is that life is short. Life is brutal, and most people are living on or below the poverty line, and life, it can be so much more if you have intrinsic reward. All this extrinsic reward, I think it's not good. It's not good for society, and it's not good for us as individuals. And so I think if you have an opportunity to pretend or sing or speak or think for a living, I think that's a pretty cool gig. And I don't think you should ever treat people like peons, or like, oh, I can do more. I can do more. Okay. Yeah, all right, fine. You pretend for a living, and now you want more millions. You want me to slow clap you? I just think we should strive for higher morals than that. We should strive for higher. We should strive for more integrity there, and really appreciate the audience, and really appreciate the people. Who gives to the poor? The poor. Who donates the most? The poor. We see this in statistics. So I'm so sorry that you only get to play 3 or 4 roles because you've been typecast. I'm so sorry, but I bet you it feels really great from your mansion.
Yeah.
So hey.
Now, when it happened to George Reeves, the original Superman, and before I continue with that, I should say thank you so much, Cardinal Sin, for this super chat, buddy. Appreciate you. He said I can't get behind that. William Shatner and Henry Rollins. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. It was tragic for him because it was at a time when he wasn't making a lot of money. This guy, when he was making the original Adventures of Superman TV series, he was actually doing other work. I mean, during off season, he was wrestling and digging ditches and doing all kind of stuff. And the typecasting, was not easy for him, and no one ever likes the typecasting. I can understand it, but you do have to look. You gotta just roll with it, because there's not a whole lot you can do about it. I understand actors don't like it, but what you do is just embrace it, go with it, and try to appreciate the fact that people, maybe jerks in Hollywood aren't treating you very well and giving you the kind of roles you want, but the people out there love you for this. If you're typecast, that means people love you for this role.
Yeah.
You meant something in their lives. And of course, I know, easy for me to say when those guys are having trouble getting a job in their chosen profession, but still, people love you. Imagine how many people get that. How many people become loved by the world forever as Batman, the way Adam West went. And he did do a fairly nice job of at least accepting it after a while and dealing with it. It took Shatner a long time to deal with it. It took Nimoy a long time to deal with it, and a lot of these other actors. But some of them at least managed to make a good life for themselves dealing with it. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They didn't get to be these, known for all these other, doing all these other acting jobs, but man, they did one that made them immortal. I know it doesn't do it. Maybe doesn't mean the same to them, but I think it should mean something to them. And I think after a while, when you get older, it kind of does. I think Shatner really loves that he was Kirk. Now, he didn't used to.
So too, yeah.
But I think when we're talking about Bill, we're talking about something really special, though, because Bill has been really open about his story. And so, it's important to remember that poor Bill was in a car, right?
Yeah.
And that he
Yeah.
didn't get any royalties. So initially he started off quite
They
impoverished.
went to his ex-wife, I think.
And so there he is living in his car, and he's learned that he's not going to get any royalties from Star Trek. So at that point, it really becomes a crisis, because now it almost feels like you're doing community theater full time and you're never getting paid. So it's almost like you're volunteering. And so I think that can be a genuine struggle. But I think that's far different than making millions of dollars off of two books in which you openly struggle with your own fame and your own wealth and your own massive impact on culture as we know it, on popular culture. You become a cultural phenomenon, and it's still not good enough for you. You want more. That can be something that changes your opinion of your hero. That can make you go, applying the brakes here. What am I? Who is this person? It's hard for me to be critical of him because I love him so much,
No.
Childhood hero. But those two books, when you bring those two books back, when you bring those two books up in conversation, they're a real sore spot with me, because it's like, that's not the person who I thought he was.
I was even more, for me, I was more angry with him for being a part of the Jar Jar Abrams filth in 2009. Look, by the way, that doesn't mean I don't think there's anyone making a gig. So my inner practical person says, look, hey, they pay you money, go do it.
Yeah.
So I get that. But as a fan, he didn't really have to come out. And I think he did come out and say some insulting things to fans who didn't want that were not on board with the 2009 fake direct garbage filth by Jar Jar Abrams. And he went on Saturday Night Live and called them dickheads and made fun of them. And like, by the way, everyone should be able to take a joke. It's not like crying because some pampered actor called me a dickhead. Just that, you think there'd be a little appreciation, and he wouldn't. Hey, Senator McGulp, good to see you. And so I was really mad at Nimoy for seeing him, having to see him in that filth, which is not Star Trek, which I hate.
Yeah,
really galled me every time when he was in both of those two stupid first movies, and then I was so mad at him. I still loved him when I would watch the original show. I didn't let it bother me, or when I watched the movie and stuff, I still love Spock, so I didn't let it bother me. Mm-hmm. But I was still kind of that. So when he passed back in 2015, I felt kind of guilty. I felt like, oh no, man. I mean, not that he and I were ever going to meet anyway. I met every member of the original crew except him. He's the only one I ever got a chance to meet. But
no, he was a sweetheart to me, and
I understand. But I was mad.
Put his arm around my waist. He made me feel like I was the queen of the world. He was so dashing and just gentlemanly and charming and wonderful to me. And I thought he was really cool. I met him at a VIP, as you well know. But like I said, those two books, they're something else, because you get this you have this conceptualization of the person, and you're really hoping that they're going to transcend these trappings, and some people just don't have the ability, they don't have the tools, or it's not in their personality to do so. But I don't know, like, look at Gene Roddenberry though. Gene Roddenberry was really open about it, like that he wasn't making much money. Like that's why he wanted lyrics to the theme song so that he could make residuals off of it. And he was very open and honest. He said, I want this show to endure forever. Anything I can do to move this show forward, to make it live forever. I want to be remembered. In fact, he said things like, like, I wish I could see where we're going to be in 20 or 30 years. This wasn't a guy who wanted to live forever. No, his ego wasn't that big. He wasn't that kind of person. It's that he had a genuine passion for futurism, and he really genuinely wanted to know where we would be in 50 years. And so for me, I think that kind of ambition is okay. And it's okay to say that you need the money. It's when these people they trip over their own branding, and they don't realize that we already know that. We're not idiots, right?
Admiral Teague, what's up, buddy?
Admiral Teague,
Let's see, you got a couple things started here real quick. Princess Fiona says, I heard Nathan Fillion always treats his fans with utmost respect. He was nice. He was nice to me. Very nice guy. That's anecdotal, I realize, but I've heard that as well, and he's really nice when I got to meet him. Sean Carter says, "You're right, Raquel. Just tonight, I delivered pizzas to a mansion in a gated community. Guy opens the door on the phone, doesn't acknowledge me, takes the food, and shuts the door. No tip. What a jackass!"
Yeah.
20
tip.
minutes later, I delivered to a duplex, low income house, and the lady who obviously wasn't rich dug out 10 and gave it to me. A smaller order. I said, "Appreciate you. I appreciate you." That is, I've heard that a lot. I've heard things like that before. Good to see you, Admiral Teague, buddy. By the way, Sean, I've heard that kind of thing before, and it's just sad and disgusting. But yeah, I mean, it's just many men. And again, look, I know it's anecdotal. I'm sure there are many rich people I've heard many stories of rich people doing nice things for. So I'm sure many. I don't want to paint with that broad brush. There's plenty of rich people that are kind and would give you a nice tip. I'm sure. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but so it's not all of them. But yeah, I've heard that a lot, and it's definitely. And there are probably poor people that treat you like a jerk too. But
it's true.
But definitely, you're gonna. I mean, look, most charitable donations are made by people that don't have very much.
That is fact.
And through churches and things like that, you know, religious people and stuff. So
that is fact.
Yeah, yep. And so I'm sorry to hear that, Sean. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and awful.
But I'm glad that he got to have. I'm glad that he got that. I'm sorry to interrupt, but just to finish up with Sean, I'm glad that he got to have that soul to soul experience, though, at the end, to have somebody realize that he's a delivery driver. You know, you don't know. The person could be an engineer in the daytime. You don't know. But for whatever reason, that person, you have a chance with that person in your life just for a few seconds. And how you make them feel will have a lasting effect on them. And just being treated like a human being when you're doing the kind of work that no one else wants to do, or the people that people look down on, it can make all of the difference. And it's about you. It's about what's happening inside of you. It's about your own dialogue about who you are. Don't do things to prove things to others. Do things to improve yourself.
Indeed.
Well, I was just going to add, my daughter, you have young kids, they work in, not going to say, service industry, restaurants or, fast food or, actually my daughter started doing delivery. And for one place she worked at, most people wouldn't leave tips because it was all credit card. But now a lot of places, thankfully, have that when you pay by credit card to say we want to add a tip. Although I know there's a reaction to that where they're getting annoyed by it, which I can't understand. It's like, you don't want to leave a tip. You don't have to tip for every, cup of coffee or whatever, but once in a while you could tip. But it always makes the people feel better. And, if they're, especially if they're doing a good job, I think it's always a nice thing. You have that human interaction, especially if you go to the same place all the time or the same coffee place. You get to know people, and they don't make a ton of money, but the tips really make a big difference in someone. It's a nice way to say thank you. But I know a lot of cultures don't have tipping. America has a lot of tipping, but we went to Italy, everyone kept telling us, you don't tip, or you leave something very, very small. That it's included in their wages too. So sometimes it's also a culture shock. And don't be like the guy, Mr. Blue from Reservoir Dogs, who in the beginning he says he never tips. So don't be like him. Yeah.
Well, even if you can't afford it, I think the most important thing is what Sean said is being treated like you're invisible. And I think that's, circles back on this conversation this conversation we're having about those who want to divorce themselves from parts that they have, played in Hollywood and made millions and millions of dollars off of them, and sort of poo-poo the fans as though, they're out of their minds or, get a life. And meanwhile, that person's saying that from a mansion where they made that money based on that love and adoration from the fans. So it's just, you can really tell who someone is by how they treat someone who can do nothing for them. They're no good to them financially or anything else. And it's we need to strive for more integrity. That's for sure.
I want to let's see here. Thank you so much, Fiona. You shouldn't have done that, but if I could somehow knew a way to switch this over to Sean, I would do it for sure. I'm tipping Sean for the pizza the only way I can. Thank you, Princess
He's
Fiona.
on Mars though. It's
Too
tough to
kind.
get there.
Yes. Well, Sean, in spirit, that this $2 is for you. But yeah, I Fiona, thank you so much. You're too kind, my friend. Thank you. And Sean, yeah, just hang in there, buddy. I hear what you're saying. Now, the Tetrarch of Apathy. Hello there. I delivered near college. The students usually tip better than the teachers.
Yeah.
Very frequently, they were the same teachers. Good to see you, Tetrarch, though. Let's see here. Oliver says there's a video segment on YouTube called The Roddenberry Archive. William Shatner discusses on Kirk's death in Star Trek Generations and this book called Star Trek The Return. Yes. Oh, cool. Yeah, I like Star Trek Return. I like the Kirk books. But,
Boss,
yes.
just so you know, Sean Carter has said that his delivery fee to Mars will be a flat rate of $14 billion.
Done. I'll be writing you a check. But yeah, that's a fair price.
Yeah.
Oh, I just found something too online where
What?
you can actually get that. Let me share my screen here. You can get that album now as part of the Star Trek TMP original soundtrack 20th anniversary collector's edition, and it includes the Inside Star Trek interview with Gene Roddenberry.
Wait, what is this again?
So this is
the album from the soundtrack.
It's the soundtrack, but what they did, they added the that extra the disc 2. There's a bonus disc. Well, they don't show the disc. It's not Roddenberry Vault, but on the tracks here, disc 2 is Inside Star Trek.
Gary!
Hey Gary, how's it going?
Hey, good to see you, man.
Thank you for stopping by. Yep. Yeah. So disc 2 here has that CD that Minimus had given you or put on tape for you. So this bonus disc here, Inside Star Trek is disc 2. Yep. So if anyone doesn't have that,
it's probably on YouTube, but yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, it is on YouTube. But if you like physical media, if you want to get the original, the actual vinyl is about $50 if you want to find the original vinyl record. But if you just want to listen to that interview.
No, absolutely. And if it is on YouTube, I need to send it to Raquel, unless you've heard it before.
I put the link in.
Nope.
I would like a great interview with Gene Roddenberry interviews Shatner and Mark Leonard. I can't remember who else.
I would love that. Did you see this thing with JT Kirk? He says my roommate paid for the room number, like their room phone in their dorm in college. Our number was 1 digit off of Domino's. A lot of drunk people did not get their pizzas back in 2005. Shitty kicks. JT
Kirk.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Nice. I like it. That was some Trek. This is Trekness right there.
Yeah, that's that Michael Shuley. We should try to get him on the show to talk about all his great posters.
Oh man, that would be greatness.
That'd be. I don't know if he speaks German. You can get MMM to translate for us, but
true.
That'd be fun to have him on. He's doing TNG posters now too.
We can forgive him for that.
JT Kirk speaks German as well.
Oh, he does. Okay. Awesome.
Does he really?
Yep.
Really?
He also speaks German.
Oh, schnell. Cool. That's all I know how to say. Schnell.
Wiener Schnitzel.
And Wiener Schnitzel. That's because I want some chili cheese dogs from der Wiener Schnitzel. But enough of, don't start fooding me. The nice try, Mark D with a CP.
I didn't bring up food here, when we started talking about food.
You put that in, you said the Wiener Schnitzel, and that was enough.
You did. And you know what time it is? It's a school night, and we're getting very close to the end, and we're all hungry.
Yeah, we better start winding down so that Raquel can get out here at a decent hour for a change, right? Because you got a lot of stuff to worry about, young lady, with your upcoming away mission.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys!
Are you gonna have any
nervous.
pictures you can? Any pictures you can get, or short video that we could?
My husband is going to. We couldn't find a videographer, so my husband's going to record the whole thing, and then we're going to put it on the Patreon.
Oh, nice.
I just I cannot say, I feel so weird. I don't want to get emotional, but I am going to feel naked without all of you there backing me. it's been my American friends that have really rallied behind me and really said, yes, you know, we love episodic classic science fiction. We love short stories. We'll be here for you. Let's do this, you know, and you guys have been on this journey with me, and I don't know what I'm going to do without all of you. I love you all so much. I'm going to feel so naked without you. And I wish you could all be there. It's going to be weird that you guys aren't going to be there. You guys are my crew. You guys are my friends, all of you. And it's going to be weird. You are going to be sorely missed.
Well, we know you'll be all right, though. You have plenty of backup. You have a good crew with you. You have a good away team there with you there. Yeah. Or landing party would be better to say.
Yeah. My away team is pretty good.
You know, I had hey, Gary Ambrosia. Gifted cool. Let's see.
Oh,
another mile, another stone.
Yay!
Yes, indeed. Gary, thank you so much for that, buddy. And Dadman also has one. Oh. Run with you there in spirit, he says. Thank you both so much.
Beautiful
Gary
people.
Ambrosia, appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, you made me think about when I said away. You know why I said the away team and landing party thing?
Yeah.
Six is here. Six, hey, I love you. Good to see you.
Gorgeous.
Six. Beautiful Six. And Gary says, hail Clobby and Mark and Raquel for another super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. You were too kind. I really appreciate you. Thank you. It's an honor to have you here, sir. I hope you and the wonderful missus are doing well, my friend.
Ambrosias!
Indeedishness.
And Six was on the StreamYard, folks, to get member chat. Thank you for doing that, Six, to get member chats and the super chats in so you could actually host them. Otherwise, other than doing what I'm doing is just showing, you know, the feed direct from YouTube. Well, Six was getting into it with the folks on Twitter. The StreamYard.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, like you think you'd really like
StreamYards.
Yeah. So other than, you know, because then you miss the member chat if you don't have a YouTube window open. You'd never see the member chat, which is nuts. So hopefully Six will give him some more shin kicks and get that fixed, because they did have the super chats for like 2 days and then it disappeared.
Yeah. Well, you know, folks, Raquel has got to get a move on, because she has to get ready for this big event that's coming this Saturday for her book and stuff. So I'm going to start doing some show notes after I let her have her give her final words. And we're going to get out. We'll do. Could not be reached for further comment. Good to see you, my friend. We'll let Raquel give her final words, and then Mark, and then I will do some show notes and some shout outs, and we'll get a move on for this evening. So number one, take it away.
Thank you, Captain. Okay, let's talk turkey. There's about 300 of you out there. There are about 300 of you out there. And you regularly support this channel, and you regularly support our shows. And I just want to say how grateful I am to you for, you know, buying my stories, for supporting Clobby, for supporting me. You're all really incredible people. Like, it's just, it's so cool to know that you're out there. Even the folks where we don't know your name, we appreciate you so much listening to us. Like, you know, we're a radio show, and those of you who join in the chat and create these amazing conversations and create this beautiful camaraderie and all of these amazing friendships. I am taking stock in the fact that I know that there are around 300 of you out there. And I want each and every one of you to know that you matter to me, and that I appreciate you, and that I see every number, I see every conversation, I see every message, I see every like, and I appreciate it. You guys are the best. This community of geeks and nerds, it's like no other. You guys are just fantastic human beings, and I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank all my Patreon subs who are backing my new book. I love you all very much. Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter from Mars, Cardinal Sin, also known as Gil Bavel, Shooter, Pew, Chris Persia, Scuba, Pete, and Leslie, Eric K. and the fabulous Kirby, Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with a C, Mark D with a C, Jill, Jilly Jill, Maximum Redstone, JJ Kirk, the Deadman Clan, and Lord Thoth. Thank you for making my next book possible. I want to thank all the wrenches. Thank you so much for all of the work that you do in this community. You help make this whole magic work. You're a very important part of it. So thank you for giving your time and giving yourself. You are just selfless, wonderful human beings. I want to thank Mark for the production that he does, for just being a good friend and just being so terrific to hang around with. You're a good friend, and we're all better for having known you. You are a super sweet and wonderful guy. We all adore you very much. Please follow Mark, especially because I badgered him for a year to get a Patreon because he's a maker. And he makes beautiful things. So please go and follow him on his YouTube channel, and please go to his Patreon because he makes an amazing doomsday machine that will blow your mind. This isn't Bush League makerism. This is like the real deal. It's gorgeous stuff. Go check it out. And last but certainly not least, one of the best friends that I've ever had in my entire life, Clobby. I love you so much. Thank you for creating this community, for creating this space for all of us to come together. We all adore you. You're the best of the best, honey. You are the grand poobah of all of geekdom, and we all love spending time with you. I love you very much. Thank you for supporting my work and doing all of the crazy things that you've done over the last couple of years to support me. You are the best. Mwah, mwah,
Oh,
mwah.
I love you too. Thank you. Hey, the bunny mom Ambrosia popped by to say hello. Hey there.
Hi.
A beautiful lady. It is lovely to see you. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you're having a wonderful night.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Thank you, JJ
I love
Kirk.
you. I love you, Six. I love you. Marco.
Wow, Six said I'm cool. Wow, she said I'm the coolest. That's so awesome.
She's
Thank
a doll.
you, Six. I don't know about cool, but maybe nice. All right, well, I'll take that. I got to get my Fonzie jacket from the 70s, though, if I'm going to be really cool.
Hey. No, you are cool. Stop it.
Thank you.
So
Look,
no,
there's that link,
Raquel.
by the way. Restoring Star Trek: The Motion Picture from Iconicon 2022. Thank you for that, Kal-El, buddy.
Oh,
everyone,
go
follow that.
Thank you.
Yeah, go up to that link, everyone. That's a great video. My wonderful retro blasting friends put that on with Iconicon last year, 2022. I think it was movie Abilette or whatever. Abilette, maybe on the master. Maybe on the retro blasting channel. Either way, there's the link. So go for it. Sorry.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Raquel. You make me blush all the time. Just so kind. And yeah, Mike and Raquel, just so awesome to hang out with you all the time on YouTube. Seems like we're in the next room. It'd be nice if we could just walk into the next room and see each other. Someday we'll get to hang out in person. But yeah, just so much fun being here, and yeah, I appreciate everyone who subs to my channel and supports me. So I've got my first two Patreons since I started that, Shooter and Brian Hepburn. So thank you very much for that. And let me post my link to my Patreon. So I'm going to be offering the Doomsday Machine as one of the things you can get through Patreon, and other 3D models and fun stuff, and going to do some more things with Patreon, but I'm trying to post. Got to start posting some more behind the scenes. I just fixed my Arrow action figure, so got to post some pictures behind the scenes of that. But it's just a lot of fun hanging out with everyone. Much appreciated. And I'll see. Look, I put Raquel's Patreon in. So go. Where's my Patreon here? But go sub to Raquel's Patreon before mine.
Yes,
I'll put mine in. But, yeah. So, but thank you everyone for that. And yeah, it's just it's not Thursday if I'm not hanging out with you guys. So a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll be doing Sunday Night Geekery this week. I might I have to push it back an hour. Might be traveling back from somewhere, but
not a problem.
I'll let everyone know. But
cool.
Just should be a fun weekend. If it stops raining, I want to get out on the motorcycle again. It's supposed to rain throughout the weekend. And the Rangers, Lisa, yeah, they're not doing so well, but maybe tomorrow night or next Saturday night, maybe they can win a game. Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone.
Can I be reached for comment? Heard anything about the TMP sabotage cut just popping up YouTube recently? I have not. I'll put
I
my
saw that.
finest
It's gonna be funny.
Mark D. You know about that?
Oh yeah, it's hysterical. You remember the Enterprise and Doomcock had a fantastic post about that. So someone, with the Beach Boys, then someone did it with someone did it with Sabotage.
Okay,
So
cool.
there's a lot of those clips going around.
Gotcha.
I never knew the D could move like that. That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Oh, so
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Well, everyone, let's see some show notes here. Of course, I really appreciate y'all being here tonight. If you were lurking tonight, thank you so much. We appreciate our lurkers. And if you're watching this later on a download or rewatch, thank you so much. I never say it enough. Please accept my appreciation for that. Thank you. Thank you. We love it. And of course, anyone, if you could consider, if you haven't already, hitting the like button and even subscribing if you have not already, I would really appreciate that. Big shout out to, let's see, first of all, show notes are simple. Tomorrow night on my good buddy Nick Weiser's channel, 8:30 Central, I'll be hanging with the comic shop gang, the Friday night comic shop gang. Hungry Boy will be there with us, we hope. And we'll be reviewing part 3, even though this says part 2 right here. It'll be our part 3 of our 3-episode epic review of Jim Starlin's classic Adam Warlock run of the 1970s classic Bronze Age masterpiece. Because Warlock's going to be in the new Guardians of the Galaxy film next week, and so he's going to be ruined in that next week in public. May as well relive his greatest moments before that. Let me see here. Also, let's see, the not too distant future. I promise I'm going to make this happen. I just maybe another month to go, but I will. This is tough. Every time I think I'm going to do this right, I just fall to pieces and can't do it right. But I'm going to make it finally. My top 25 favorite comic book stories. I'm going to. Oh man.
Ooby dooby. Ooby dooby.
Is Ooby Dooby here?
Ooby dooby.
Ooby Dooby's here?
Yeah.
Hey, Ooby Dooby. What's up, Hurt? All right. Okay, so let's see here. Saturday night Star Trek. I will not be reviewing 4 episodes of Deep Space Nine this week as we normally do, because as you know, number 1, we'll be on a mission from God. And she will be on a mission, on an away mission. So it's just going to be open, anything goes Star Trek talk. So it'll still be Saturday night Star Trek. And I will just, I don't know, I'm not even going to plan anything. I'm just going to pop in and just decide what kind of Star Trek stuff we're going to do. 6, it's a daunting task because it's tough for me to when I get my top 10, it's tough to add another 15 to that. I could have 100, but not easy. But anyway, so Saturday night Star Trek, everyone, same Trek time, same Clubby channel, but not the same format as usual. No reviews, just talking some Trek, because you could talk Trek and about, as we've proven tonight, you could talk Trek nonstop forever. Then I'll be with Mark on the Geekery, and then Monday night I'm doing 2 shows. One is on my good buddy J-Man show, where we just started reviewing all of the appearances of the Legion of Superheroes. If you're a comics geek out there, Legions, and if you're especially a Legions fan, long live the Legion. We're starting, this will be part 3 of that. We're going to go from 1958 to 1989, so we could be doing this longer than we're going to be doing Star Trek Saturday night reviews. So there you go. And and that's that. Let's see.
Look at this comment from HB. He wants all the women of all the Clobby women to form a superhero team.
A guild with purple wigs.
No purple wigs, but a very cool idea. And HB, I cannot wait to tell everyone about your painting this weekend. It's going to be a blast. I feel like you're going to be there with me.
Yes, indeed, Well,
and I also just posted the review that we did. I think Raquel and me and Jill and CLOBBERIN Times, we did a review of the 4K cut. So that link is in there. And also we also had an unboxing too. So if anyone had missed that,
cool.
Go check those out. And God, we love that movie. That's so good.
Love that movie. Yeah. Love it. Okay, well, shout out to our wrenches, then we'll get out of here, folks. Whether they're here or not, they get the shout out. The great Eric K., the bronze wrencher. I don't know if Eric's in Vegas or not, but the Friday Night Tights big Vegas meetup is going on. I know that much, and a bunch of people are out at that one. I don't know if Eric went there or not, but I hope he did. Then I hope he's having a great time if he did. Chris Persia, the Vindicated Wrench of the North. the great D. Bud Martin, who had a fantastic time hanging out with last night reviewing Iron Man comic, and we'll do it again soon. The great Lord Thoth, the god of wrenching, and the Lady Thoth as well. Avon lives long, live the Legion. My partner in crime on Earth, B, and fellow Legionnaire reviewer, J-Man, the Wrench Without Fear, the great comic book artist, master of the club only, and artist of the cover of R.M. Briggs' Science Fiction Tales. Hungry Boy, Super Wrench Supreme Kal-El, Maddie's Daddy, Thor from Vegas, and of course the great Fanty outside here. And Max Redstone popped in earlier, our music meister, the great master of the limerick, Max Redstone. So everybody, and of course, thank you for all being here with us tonight.
Thank you,
cannot thank you enough.
And thank you for the super chats and all the gifts for the boss. All those things help our, for all intents and purposes, retired boss keep the lights on in this virtual comic book shop. So all of you, thank you for doing that for the boss. I appreciate it so much. You are just so generous. You are the coolest cats. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Is there an Aqua woman? Well, there's he has a wife named Mira, but not exactly. But
sort of, isn't she kind of considered Aqua Woman?
Not really called Aqua Woman though.
Yeah, never really used it, but that's
not Mira's not But and that was an interesting question there, Six. But thank you, Six, and by the way, member stream next week finally. So
yay!
Everyone, thank you, and hey, until next time, clobber on, clobberers. Have a fantastic remainder of your week. We're in the weekend now. Have a great weekend. There you go.
No bloody A, B, C, or D.
It's clobbering time! Clobberanimo! I just love clobbering time.